feels so out of place with her father. Why doesn't her twin sister Melina pop up in her childhood memories? This leads her to doing some investigative work and uncovering a major secret. She learns of Shang Tsung's flesh pits. In order to learn how to shapeshift and how to steal souls, the sorcerer had to experiment. He's something of a scientist, you see. And so, Shao Kahn gave him access to a laboratory/dungeon where he committed some of the worst atrocities imaginable. Lots of people getting captured and tortured, including someone named Kotal, who would be killed in the original timeline by these experiments. Shang Tsung once created a bloody meat skeleton that managed to escape the lab and somehow survive in its unfinished state. This is the origin of the playable character known as Meat. But by far, Shang Tsung's greatest creation was an identical clone bred to be the daughter that Shao Kahn always wanted. He created Melina. But that's not all. In order to increase her ferocity and give her that killer edge, he also cross-mixed Kitana's DNA with that of a Tarkatan. So underneath Melina's mask lies the same hideous razor mouth that Baraka and his cohorts have. How the fuck did Kitana never see that? At least in Mortal Kombat 9, they make it so that she meets Melina for the first time, but in the original timeline, I mean, these girls are 10,000 years old. What, Melina just never took her mask off ever? They never had to shower or have girl talk or anything? But yeah, Melina is definitely more sadistic, more evil, and she's not above cannibalism as she enjoys eating her enemies. We also learn in her ending that she and Baraka are a secret couple behind the scenes. Gee, I wonder why.
Repulsive human.
Sleeping with Baraka's repulsive.
Who told you this?
Needless to say, this revelation shatters Kitana's world. All of a sudden, she remembers everything. Sindel, Jared, Edenia. This isn't the life she's supposed to have. It's all bullshit. Melina, who had been under orders from Shao Kahn to spy on her sister, now decides to end her pitiful existence once and for all. The two sisters battle until only one remains. God damn! Yeah, Kitana does kill Melina in Mortal Kombat 2. Though maybe she didn't cut her head off, maybe she knocked her off a bit. Or maybe she gave her a sweet goodbye kiss. How the fuck did she do that? If I were Liu Kang, I'd be very nervous. But still, Shao Kahn's adoptive daughter turns from the dark side and officially joins the forces of light. The only other conflict I can speculate about is Sub-Zero and Scorpion. In MK4, they're still enemies. Scorpion wants to kill Sub-Zero, and that kind of flies in the face of his 2 and 3 endings, where Scorpion realizes that the younger brother is far more merciful, and therefore could not be his family's killer. He chooses to be his protector and keep him from harm, but then in MK4, he changes his mind for no reason at all. I'm going to assume they never reconciled and that Sub-Zero defeated him in a fight. Regardless, both characters survive to fight another day. Also worth mentioning is that there is a stage called the Pit 2, and in the background we see a green monk battling a man on fire. This flaming fighter is named Blaze, and they are currently in the process of being abducted. Trust me, this character will be very, very important going forward. Like before, this tournament's outcome relies entirely on Liu Kang. He defeats Baraka and once again comes face to face with Shang Tsung. Despite being younger and pissed off over his last defeat, he still comes up short against the Shaolin. In the semi-finals, Shao Kahn unleashes a Shokan warrior that's meant to be even more brutal and fearsome than Goro, Kintaro. Apparently the Shokan have feline variants of themselves, as this guy has a tiger strike pattern as well as a cute little kitty cat nose. He screams really loud, but he still cannot get the job done. So it all comes down to this. The Emperor gets to show off his skills. The only thing stopping him from claiming Earthrealm is this puny little monk. And yet, this is something Liu Kang has been training for his entire life. The battle is fierce, it is exhausting, and yet somehow, some way, Liu Kang manages to defeat the Emperor of Outworld. And somehow Shao Kahn managed to survive exploding into a whole bunch of stone blocks. But there we go! Liu Kang retains his title as the Mortal Kombat champion, thereby ensuring complete amnesty from Outworld. A rather shocking event for the people in the audience. Jax manages to free both Sonya and Kano, but unfortunately the Black Dragon thug manages to escape in a shuffle, disappearing into a nearby portal. Still, Jax is just relieved that nothing bad happened to his lieutenants. No longer welcome in Outworld, Kitana decides to follow Liu Kang and the forces of light back to Earthrealm. The vibe is ultimately bittersweet. Sure, Shao Kahn is lost, but the White Lotus Society is still very much eradicated. Our Shaolin champion will always honor the people who were sacrificed to achieve this peace. Too bad it won't last for much longer.
Remember when I said I would leave Earthrealm alone?
That's right, Shao Kahn, you did!
I lied.
So Shao Kahn definitely lost in the Outworld tournament, but he wasn't without a backup plan. Somehow he discovered that he is allowed to cross over into other realms through one single loophole. If his bride is misplaced in another realm, he is allowed to step through the dimensional gates to reclaim her. Now, of course, Sindel is deceased, but he still has Shang Tsung and a whole bunch of magical shadow priests who can bring people back from the dead. So for their new plan, Shao Kahn resurrects Sindel on Earthrealm, thus allowing his army safe passage to cross over and invade. Also, they managed to brainwash the Queen, making her completely subservient to the Outworld Emperor. Now, admittedly, this scenario raises too many questions. Why did it have to be Sindel? What was stopping Shao Kahn from just marrying Jade and sending her over? It's not like he has a problem sending troops since he massacred the White Lotus Society. In MK9, they changed the explanation a little by saying that Sindel created a magical ward to protect Earthrealm when she ended her life. But then MK11 completely retcons that too, so, whatever. Do you want Mortal Kombat 3 or not? The point is, this game is no longer about a tournament. It's a straight-up invasion. And now the Emperor is using every piece on the chessboard. Since Goro and Kintaro prove to be utterly useless against Liu Kang, his affection shifts from the Shokan to the Centaurs, an army of half-human, half-horse savages who have augmented their bodies with cybernetics. This means they're able to shoot lasers out of their tails. It's metal as fuck. They are led by General Motaro. If they could bring Sindel back from the dead, you can bet they can do the same for Melina. Yep, they resurrect Daddy's favorite girl, and she is burning with revenge for Kitana. The Emperor declares Sindel's daughter to be a traitor to Outworld, one that needs to be taken care of as soon as possible. For this, he approaches Jade, Kitana's best friend and bodyguard. Another Edenian forced into servitude, the Green Ninja Girl has loyally served Shao Kahn for generations. But now she's between a rock and a hard place. If she doesn't follow her orders and capture her friend, she'll be an enemy to Shao Kahn as well. She is to be accompanied by Reptile, who has received a conflicting directive. Whereas Jade needs to capture Kitana, Shao Kahn tells the Zaterran to just straight up kill her. Well gee, that won't lead to any conflict now, will it? Also joining the fray this time around is the Purple Ninja Rain. Another former Edenian, this guy actually sold out his realm by betraying a rebel faction. See, he wanted to lead the group, but they all thought he was too power-hungry and selfish. Well, if that's how they feel, fuck those guys. I'm joining Shao Kahn. Rain has the ability to manipulate water. And he's not the only ninja, as Shao Kahn also has a red one named Ermac. So the whole entire time that Khan has been conquering realms, he's also been collecting the souls of every single person he kills, creating soul chambers in his fortress to contain them for whatever purpose he desires. Along with revitalizing Shang Tsung's youth, he also created a special human vessel that is made up of a collection of these souls. That is Urbat. Consider their pronouns they, them, as the Red Ninja is a legion of identities all occupying the same body. This grants them incredible abilities, including levitation and telekinesis. Despite having multiple personalities all vying for control, Shao Kahn keeps them in line with his dark magic. They are still completely obedient to their emperor. Also joining the forces of darkness is Noob Saibot, a shadow ninja who hails from the Netherrealm. And yes, he's literally just a ninja again, but completely black. See, in order to add extra characters to the games, the developers would bypass their memory limitations by basically just recoloring everybody. Kitana, Jade, Melina, Scorpion, Reptile, Rain, Urdak, they all use the exact same sprites. As the games go on, their designs would change it up to differentiate each other, but you know, Mortal Kombat is famous for having ninjas of every color of the rainbow, and that's basically why. Anywho, Noob Saibot, which backwards is Tobias Boone, the two co-creators of Mortal Kombat, is basically a revenant, a member of the Brotherhood of Shadow who has been ordered by his Lord Shinnok to assist Shao Kahn. Noob has the ability to will his own shadow into existence, essentially creating a tag team partner, which is a very scary thing. Oh my god! I instinctively grabbed myself. That's how uncomfortable that was. Good lord. Now, there are details about all of these ninjas that I'm leaving out, but we'll leave that for their appropriate twist reveals. Next in the bad guy lineup is Shiva, a female Shokan who serves as Queen Sindel's bodyguard. She's always been loyal to the Emperor, but lately that dedication has faltered because of his admiration towards the Centaurs. See, Shokan and Centaurs, they're basically mortal enemies. They hate each other, and to see Motaro become the de facto leader of Shao Kahn's extermination squads, that really doesn't sit right with her. Still, she will do her duty as any good warrior would. And finally, I did want to mention that despite being locked up during the last tournament, the Black Dragon thug Kano sees the way the wind is blowing and decides to align with Outworld. In fact, he uses his black market connections to supply Shao Kahn with tons of Earth weapons. A Tarkatan is deadly. A Tarkatan with a rocket launcher? Well, that's just a good Friday night. On the opposite side of the conflict, Sonya and Jax would make a desperate plea to their superiors about the crazy shit that's happened to them in the last two games. They beg for government funding to protect themselves from Outworld, but it all falls on deaf ears. Sub-Zero and Smoke return to the Lin Kuei headquarters to find that things have changed quite a bit. In order to improve the deadly capabilities of their clan, the Grandmaster decides to incorporate technology into its warriors. And you might think, oh, he's gonna give them cool gadgets and weapons and stuff. No. Instead, the Grandmaster tells everybody that they will now be cyberized, that their bodies will be encased in metal shells, their brains hardwired to obey commands. Basically, they have to turn themselves into robots. In fact, the Grandmaster's son, Sector, is the first volunteer who chooses to undergo the operation, because he believes in the cause and feels that becoming cyber is the natural evolution of the Lin Kuei. The second person to undergo these experiments is Cyrax, a warrior who hails from Botswana. While he does resist surrendering his consciousness to the cause, he knows ultimately that there is no leaving the Lin Kuei. He reluctantly allows himself to become cyberized. Sub-Zero and Smoke are horrified by what the Lin Kuei has become, and so they both decide to make a break for it. While Kuai Liang does receive a nasty scar in the escape, he does still manage to get away. Smoke, however, is not so lucky. The robotic assassins manage to subdue him and go on to completely rob his humanity. Tomas forever stuck in his robotic shell. And so, Sector, Cyrax, and Smoke all have but one mission: to capture the rogue Lin Kuei, Sub-Zero. And with that, the stage is set for Outworlds to invade Earthrealm. They first arrive in the middle of New York City, where Shao Kahn sends his extermination squads to hunt down Raiden's warriors, because getting humiliated by Liu Kang will not stand. They don't find the Shaolin champion right away, but Motaro does manage to find Johnny Cage. And while the movie star makes a valiant effort, he is no match for the Centaur. Johnny Cage is killed.
Page 62, Johnny Cage dies? Is someone high?
This is extra confirmed in Mortal Kombat 9, showing how Motaro stabbed him with a big spear. That's, not good. It gets even worse when the Emperor sends his Shadow Priest to spawn a massive soul-sucking tornado. Soulnado, if you will. This giant whirlwind of destruction is so powerful that it manages to suck up every life force in Earthrealm. Oh yeah, it's that damn strong. The only people who manage to keep their souls intact are the forces of light, as well as a few new faces whose determination kept them alive. Like the New York police officer Curtis Stryker, a really strong member of the law who single-handedly took out a building of terrorists all by himself and managed to stop a speeding bus that was rigged to explode. That's right, his backstory is both Die Hard and Speed. Anywho, the guy is very talented, and so Raiden recruits him into the fold. Next up is Nightwolf, a Native American shaman who can communicate with spirits and even exorcise them. He has the amazing ability to spawn deadly light from the heavens, as well as ethereal weapons. His sacred land acts as a nice refuge for the warriors of light, one where Shao Kahn's forces cannot find them. And the last human to be spared was Cabal. A former member of the Black Dragon, this guy likes to fight with sharp-hooked swords. Growing a conscience, he found he was unable to keep rolling with guys like Kano. But as soon as the invasion happened, he came face to face with Kintaro and his extermination squad, and they horribly mutilated the guy. Badly scarred, he could only survive by wearing a giant breathing apparatus, one which covers his face in a ghastly mask. On the plus side, he did find that these otherworldly injuries gave him super speed, the ability to run really fast like the Flash. He joins Raiden's crew to get revenge on Shao Kahn. In order to combat these enemies, Jax decides that he needs an upgrade, and so he fits his arm with indestructible bionic implants. Now the guy has metal arms that no doubt hurt like hell to be punched with. These arms are so iconic with the character, he would never take them off. But anywho, what happened in Mortal Kombat 3? Well, a lot of things, actually. Firstly, Reptile and Jade managed to find Kitana, but since the Green Ninja is hell-bent on killing his prey, Jade decides that she has to make a choice. She chooses to side with her best friend and the forces of light, killing Reptile in the process.
Jade wins.
So yeah, Jade's a good guy now. Her and Kitana continue onwards to find Queen Sindel to try and pull her back from this evil mindset. To do so, they have to first cross fists with Shiva, Sindel's bodyguard. Kitana defeats her no problem and then finds herself having to battle her own mother. The Edenian princess is once again successful, and she does manage to knock some sense into the queen. Like her daughter before her, Sindel remembers everything. Edenia, Jared, the evil that is Shao Kahn. But more than anything, she's so proud of the strong, capable fighter Kitana has become. Sindel joins the forces of light. But it's still not over because Mileena manages to catch up with Kitana. Oh, you can bet her hideous clone is none too happy about being sent to the Netherrealm. And so we have a rematch between the two sisters that goes exactly like it did before. Kitana kills Mileena for a second time, and now she finds herself back in hell once again under the watchful eyes of Shinnok. Sub-Zero keeps dealing with his robotic hunters and at some point gets into a battle with Cyrax. Kuai Liang wins the encounter and then shows off how good he is with computers by completely reprogramming the yellow cyborg. He changes his directive to instead go against Shao Kahn. Cyrax joins the forces of light. It's unclear whether Sub-Zero and Smoke had a similar encounter, but I do know that he never got reprogrammed and he ends Mortal Kombat 3 being a prisoner in Shao Kahn's fortress. And he would remain in that dungeon until Mortal Kombat Deception. Ouch. While scoping out Khan's fortress, Sonya gets ambushed on a rooftop by her nemesis Kano. He roughs her up and thinks he has the battle won, but in reality, Sonya plays possum. She uses his cockiness to unleash a devastating kick that sends Kano over the edge of the building. But just before falling, he does rip out a lock of Sonya's hair, a memento of their time together. Kano falls to the street below and dies. The centaur Motaro manages to discover Kano's body, brings it to Outworld, and resurrects the corpse with dark magic. However, the Australian cutthroat still failed spectacularly, so he is thrown into the dungeons. It's there that Kano spots Shiva and sees her frustrations finally boil over. See, this girl failed to protect Sindel, and that's another mark of failure for the Shokan race. But it doesn't matter anyway, because it turns out that Shao Kahn has been torturing her people over in Outworld this whole entire time. So she figures, you know what? Fuck it. I'm gonna kill Motaro, and then I'm gonna kill Shao Kahn. Bold move that is mostly successful. Because yes, she does confront Motaro in the dungeons, and she does manage to kill the guy. It wasn't the forces of light, it was Shiva who did the deed. As she prepares to face Shao Kahn, Kano catches her attention, saying that if she lets him out, he'll gladly help her take out the Emperor. 2-on-1 are good odds, so she agrees. Unfortunately, Kano immediately sells out Shiva, telling Shao Kahn what she did to Motaro. The Emperor kills her with no hesitation. Shiva and Motaro are both dead, and Kano now finds himself promoted, leading the bulk of Shao Kahn's armies. Hot damn. And with that, folks, we come to the thrilling conclusion. The good guys manage to get inside Shao Kahn's fortress, and the two Shaolin monks, Liu Kang and Kung Lao, make it to his throne room. The Emperor awaits them there, now superpowered thanks to Earthrealm's souls. It's a 2-on-1 encounter that pushes everyone to their limits. Poor Kung Lao getting really banged up and nearly killed. But like the previous two times, this of course ends as it always should, with Liu Kang going one-on-one against Shao Kahn. And you might as well call him Hulk Hogan, because this guy doesn't let anybody go over. The Shaolin champion once again defeats Shao Kahn, beating him up so badly that he loses all of the souls he's collected, and somehow the grip that Outworld has on other realms. Like, beating this guy has somehow freed Edenia from its merger, and now Katana's homeworld is back to how it should be. I don't know the logistics, I don't know how this works, but that is certainly the lore of the original timeline. Now you'd think that Shao Kahn was killed at the end of this game, but no. He's just horribly beaten and manages to slink away back to Outworld. The Earthrealm invasion is called off, every soul on Earth is returned to their bodies, and peace is maintained once again. Realizing that Sonya and Jax were not lying about Outworld, the government decides to give them funding to create the Outer World Investigation Agency. Now the Special Forces have access to technology that can create portals to other realms and do preemptive strikes on any terrorist threat that may come their way. While Sub-Zero finds himself aimless without the Lin Kuei, Cyrax has a bit of a breakdown. See, Shao Kahn has been defeated, so the cyborg awaits further orders that never come. He finds himself stranded in a nearby desert, completely locked up with indecision. But yeah, folks, Shao Kahn is legitimately done. He's hurt, his schemes have failed, and his armies are in disarray. He decides to back off and leave Earthrealm alone. But while this war was going on, one person was giddy with anticipation. Now that everybody's exhausted, it's time for the fallen Elder God to once again wage war. See, it turns out when the Elder Sub-Zero, Han, managed to retrieve Shinnok's amulet from the Netherrealm, no he didn't. It was all a trick. Quan Chi made a fake duplicate amulet that Shinnok allowed Sub-Zero to steal, and nobody realized it, not even Raiden could tell the difference. Shinnok had the ability to leave the Netherrealm whenever he wanted, but he's been biding his time, waiting for the Earthrealmers and the Outworlders to finish their war. So now he's swooping in to once again continue his Age of Darkness, battling Raiden yet again. But first, he's going to take a realm that has virtually no way of defending itself. See, there's this woman named Tanya. She is the daughter of an Edenian ambassador and pitches the idea of taking in refugees from another realm to shield them from Shao Kahn's further conquests. So Sindel agrees to let them in, but after a good number of them go through, she discovers that one of them is the fallen Elder God. It's too late though. The Netherrealm forces spring their attack, and Shinnok imprisons the Edenian ladies in their own dungeons. Tanya manages to escape to Earthrealm to warn the forces of light about what's going on. Not that they have any time to react, because Shinnok immediately starts battling all of the gods of the heavens. So yeah, you remember how mythologies had like a fire god and an earth god and a water god? Yeah, those guys are all dead now. Fujin, the wind god, is the only one who manages to escape, warning Raiden about Shinnok's return. Shinnok mostly has demons and Oni as part of his armies, but he does have a few familiar faces by his side. Baraka, who has become disillusioned with Shao Kahn's failures, learns of Shinnok's Edenian takeover and decides, what the hell? I'm gonna give the Elder God my Draconic armies. Melina, who has since died twice, is now a resident of the Netherrealm. And boy howdy, she does not like it. She figures this new war is a grand opportunity to escape Shinnok's clutches, as well as get revenge on her dear sister for the third time. Reptile also died, remember? So now he's working for Shinnok under the impression that he can be transported back in time.
Now I wish to return in time to my home world, for it was destroyed at the hands of Shao Kahn. As the new ruler supreme of all reality, Shinnok alone has the power to grant me this wish.
Reptile is lonely. He just wants to be reunited with his Zaterran family. Also, you may have noticed that his human form is gone, and as the series continues, he only gets more and more reptilian. Their way of breeding is stand out, I guess. Speaking of ninjas, Scorpion, being a denizen of the Netherrealm, regularly serves under Quan Chi and Shinnok. He does so again, joining their war, but this time around the Spectre has extra motivation. It's not enough to kill Bi-Han. If he truly wants peace over his family's death, it needs to be eye for an eye. He has to kill Kuai Liang. Only with the complete death of the Lin Kuei will he finally be satisfied. And then there's Reiko, whose entire character has been retconned to hell and back. Because he makes his debut in this game. The bio literally says that he's a general of Shinnok's armies who took part in the initial war millions of years ago. The character is meant to be a mystery, as evidenced by his incredibly lame ending. One where he never says a word, he walks through a portal, and that's it. Nothing happens. But then, Mortal Kombat 4 came to consoles, and with it, new pre-rendered videos. And so, the developers decided to spice up his ending by showing where the portal goes. And it turns out to be Shao Kahn's throne room. And then, he puts on Shao Kahn's helmet. Oh my god! Is Reiko secretly Shao Kahn? Well, no. Because then we find out he's just a big fanboy.
I am Rico, General of Shao Kahn's army. What is it you wish to tell me? Oh, Shao Kahn knows about that? Tell him I will no longer enter his chamber or wear his helmet.
What the hell? All that intrigue, all that mystery, and he's just a weirdo who wants to be Shao Kahn. Starting with Armageddon, he'd start wearing outfits similar to the Emperor, and well, that's still the case with the newest game in the series. But this all flies in the face of his MK4 origin story, so I have no idea if he was actually fighting for Shinnok. Either way, that's Reiko. He's a character. It should be mentioned that Goro returns in this game to be the sub-boss, but he's not actually working for the bad guys. Now, the only reason he's returned is to get revenge on Liu Kang. But what the Shokan doesn't anticipate is that another Shaolin monk has a score to settle as well. Kung Lao wants to challenge the half-human dragon to avenge his ancestor, the great Kung Lao. Now, Sonya believes Kano is dead, but she's still hunting down the rest of his gang. She and Jax hunt down Jarek, a member who's basically Kano light. He rips people's hearts out, he flies like a cannonball, he has eye lasers. I mean, developers, come on! Why wasn't he just Kano? They're basically the same character. Anywho, when Shinnok's invasion occurs, Jarek offers to help the Special Forces take out the bad guys. But of course, he's expecting complete amnesty after the fact. Another new character is Kai. He's a friend of Liu Kang's who once belonged to the White Lotus Society. That's it. I'm sorry, but this is such a nothing character. One who only returns for Armageddon, a game that brings back everybody. And he wasn't even in the conquest mode. Hell, I watched hours upon hours of character interactions, and nobody has anything to say about this guy. In this one game, he turns up to help the forces of light. Meanwhile, back in heaven, Johnny Cage's spirit is watching events unfold. And seeing how much of a threat Shinnok is, he begs Raiden, "Please, man, you gotta bring me back to life so I can help everybody out." And Raiden goes, "Yeah, okay." What? It's that easy? Why didn't you bring him back to life before? Either way, Johnny Cage is back from the dead. And finally, Sub-Zero is also joining this conflict because he remembers what Bi-Han went through with Quan Chi and the Netherrealm. Without the Lin Kuei, Kuai Liang finds a new calling as a protector of Earthrealm. Also, at some point, Kitana manages to break out of her jail cell and joins the fight. But hey, that's all the setup for Mortal Kombat 4. Okay, so first up, this game introduces Tanya as a new Edenian who just managed to escape so she could help out the good guys. In reality, though, this lady is an evil traitor. It was by no accident that the Netherrealm managed to conquer Edenia. She orchestrated the entire infiltration. Players aren't really aware of what side she's on until they get to her ending.
Follow me, Liu Kang. Raiden has asked that I lead you to him.
Tanya, what's going on?
I don't know what Kitana saw in you. Can't you see, Liu Kang? This is a trap.
Now in this ending, she definitely gets Liu Kang killed, which is not canon. But what is canon is that everybody finds out she's a bad guy, and they treat her as such for the rest of the series. Funny enough, in Mortal Kombat Deception, there's a side quest where Shujinko helps Tanya find a spot to trap Liu Kang. But one solution of this quest is to just straight up tell Liu Kang what she's plotting. So maybe it was the character of Shujinko, who I'll talk about later, that managed to foil the whole thing. Tanya is found out, but she doesn't die. She escapes to live another day. Liu Kang does meet up with Goro, and predictably, he kicks his ass once again. Having been beaten twice in a row, the Shokan gives up on his revenge. And that's really it. There's not a lot to say about the conflicts. Raiden and the good guys manage to storm Shinnok's palace, they beat the shit out of him, and he's once again banished to the Netherrealm. Mortal Kombat 9 depicts Raiden as the ultimate winner, although Liu Kang probably could have done it as well. This was a much easier battle than the one from a million years ago. And beyond having help from the forces of light, there's actually a reason for this. Quan Chi, Shinnok's favorite sorcerer, is actually a traitor. He didn't join the good guys, but he did manage to fool the Elder God with a fake amulet. Just like Raiden, Shinnok was under the impression that he had the real deal. So when he goes to take on the good guys, he's nowhere near as powerful as he should be. Quan Chi has been after this amulet the whole entire time, and with it, ultimate power is his. Scorpion manages to meet up with Sub-Zero, and once again, the rage for his family proves to be quite the motivator. The Spectre defeats Kuai Liang and gets ready to finish him.
Your soul will never rest, Scorpion. The Lin Kuei may have been responsible for your murder, but your family's true killer still remains free.
If you are not the murderer, then who is?
I am the one you seek. To defeat my nemesis Sub-Zero, I needed the power of the Spectre. You've done my bidding well, Scorpion. But now I must return you to the Netherrealm.
Scorpion moves so quickly that he grabs Quan Chi before getting teleported, thus trapping the sorcerer in hell with him. And oh, Hanzo is not happy. You really should have kept that information to yourself. But yeah, Sub-Zero is now off the hook, and he decides that he wants to return to his old haunt. The Lin Kuei has still been doing its cyber thing when Sector's programming gets corrupted. All the battles he had during the Outworld invasion have fucked up the cyborg circuitry, causing his directives to change. He now believes that he is the one who should lead the Lin Kuei, and that the Grandmaster must be eliminated. So yes, because of a glitch, Sector kills his own father and becomes the leader of the Lin Kuei. Or at least, he almost did. But Sub-Zero comes in after the kill and challenges the red robot to a battle, one in which the Cryomancer comes out victorious. Sector manages to escape but leaves behind the Dragon Medallion, the one item that only the Grandmaster can possess. This is no mere trinket, as only one with supreme power over ice can even hope to wield it. But Kuai Liang finds that he is in fact capable of doing so, his ice powers even enhanced by the medallion. And so from that moment forward, Sub-Zero would become the new Grand Master of the Lin Kuei. But now it is to be reformed. No longer a clan used for evil, it will now assist in Earthrealm's protection. Speaking of, the Special Forces spend their time combing over the desert when Sonya and Jax discover one of their allies. Not only is Cyrax saved from his sandy prison, but he gains another form of freedom.
I realize that my existence is unnecessary. Unless I can fully recover my human self.
Alright then.
So the Special Forces perform an operation to sever Cyrax's control chip. And it is successful.
So much. I am forever I will not return my necessity. I instead choose to fight at your side for Earth.
Well, that's good news.
So as Cyrax joins the Special Forces, someone else gives them the slip. Jarek lived up to his word and helped them defeat Shinnok. However, he refused to be thrown in prison for all that he's done with the Black Dragon. Jax eventually finds the guy.
Going somewhere, Jarek? Guys, wait, I promise. Too late, Jarek. You can't drop me. You have to uphold the laws. You have to arrest me. Wait, this is brutality. You can't do it. Wrong, Jarek. This is not a brutality. This is a fatality.
Now this is brutal, but originally the scene was in response to Jarek killing Sonya by throwing her off of a cliff. But that's not canon. She's very much alive in MK5. Without that context, it truly feels like Jax overstepped his bounds and murdered a man because he could. But hey, that's the part that stuck. That's relevant to Jarek's backstory going into Armageddon. Having defeated both Shao Kahn and Shinnok, the Elder Gods decide that Raiden is due for a promotion. And with that, Earth will need a new protector.
Our battle with Shinnok's forces is over. I must move on to my new position as an Elder God. And you, Fujin, you must take my former position as protector of Earth.
Raiden, it will be my honor to succeed.
They are great people.
If you don't remember this, don't worry, I'll explain why very soon. Also, before Raiden left, he gave Kai his lightning staff because the dude wanted to walk the Earth in search of enlightenment. The Netherrealm forces are pushed out of Edenia, and Sindel once again regains her throne. But Melina still shows up to have a word with her dear sister.
I want your status.
I want to be Princess of Edenia. You will die, sister. And I will take this realm for myself. Never!
Oh, Melina, what made you think this was gonna go well? On the plus side, she doesn't die this time, but she will be spending the rest of her life in an Edenian prison. Kitana isn't content to sit around all day. Shao Kahn may have been defeated, but Outworld is still gripped under his tyranny. So she proposes uniting the armies of that realm in order to overthrow the Mad Conqueror. In this, she manages to rally the centaurs under her control, and then proposes unity with the Shokans to Prince Goro.
War has been waged in this realm for too long. We must bring it to an end. I will set aside my differences with the centaurs.
Goro, this is a great victory for all of us.
And then Kung Lao appears.
We are in a moment of peace. How can you attack now?
That was a ceremonial strike of revenge.
ancestor that you killed in mortal combat so many years ago.
And do you wish to continue this battle?
No. I wish only to settle the differences between us.
Well, good thing you didn't screw up this treaty, asshole! But yes, Kung Lao is willing to let bygones be bygones, and so does Goro, it seems. Yeah, he's a good guy now, one willing to help Katana take out Shao Kahn. But before the Edenian princess can commit to another war, she opens a portal to Earthrealm to see a special someone.
With Shinnok's destruction, you have not only saved the Earth, but you've also saved my own realm. As heir to the throne of my realm, I offer you the chance to rule at my side, as King of Edenia, forever.
I cannot accept your offer. I belong here on Earth as champion of Mortal Kombat.
Damn, really, Liu Kang? This girl practically proposed to you and you rejected her. Bro! This is gonna be a haunting last moment between the two, because everything's going to change forever. Okay, so Deadly Alliance begins with Quan Chi running for his life all day, every day, because he pissed off one angry scorpion. Hanzo is beating and tormenting the sorcerer day and night, keeping the guy so busy he can't just escape the Netherrealm like he used to. While evading Scorpion, Quan Chi runs into two Oni demons known as Moloch and Brahmin. The former, a big blue beast man who beats people up with a chain ball, the latter, a dirty rotting meatbag who's covered in flies. They've been stuck in the Netherrealm for centuries, so Quan Chi makes them a deal. Hey, if you keep Scorpion off of me and kick his ass, I'll get you guys out of here. The two agree, becoming Quan Chi's bodyguards. They also notice the shape of his amulet and tell him about a special dungeon that's existed since the creation of the realms. Sure enough, Quan Chi's amulet affects the place, creating an interdimensional portal into Outworld. The sorcerer immediately makes a break for it, leaving the two Oni behind. Which was not cool. They were really pissed off he broke his promise. But Quan Chi finds himself in a forgotten tomb, one belonging to Onaga, the former ruler of Outworld. See, when the Dragon King died, his army was entombed into many a sarcophagus. The idea being that one day Onaga would return, and when he does, his army would come back with him. Reading the ancient hieroglyphics, Quan Chi realizes that if this army was to come back to life, it would be invincible. He could easily use these warriors to conquer not just Earthrealm, but Outworld, the Netherrealm, you name it, ultimate power would be his. The only problem is that the army is lacking souls, their spirits long departed to the afterlife. And despite being a sorcerer, Quan Chi's not exactly skilled at manipulating spirits. But he does know somebody who is, Shang Tsung. Ever since MK3, the shapeshifter has just been chilling in Outworld waiting for Shao Kahn to recover. And then, Quan Chi shows up on his doorstep. He tells him about the army and how he needs his help to transplant souls into the mummified soldiers. But this is a true offer of partnership. In exchange for his help, not only will Shang Tsung have co-leadership, but he'll also have access to an unlimited supply of souls. With Shinnok's amulet, Quan Chi can open a gateway to the heavens where the spirits are infinite. Shang Tsung would never go hungry again, the afterlife his greatest buffet. Ever the schemer and always looking for ultimate power, Shang Tsung agrees to this team-up. And so the two go forward, becoming one hell of a deadly alliance. Now, if this plan is going to succeed, they'll need henchmen. And so Shang Tsung takes Quan Chi to meet up with Shao Kahn. They pay their respects, and then...
in a false show of allegiance, they sprung their attack.
Yeah, they kill Shao Kahn. The Emperor is finally dead, and now all of his troops answer to the Deadly Alliance. Kano happened to see the whole thing, and well, he's not exactly keen on saying no to them. They got some muscle to enforce their will, but there's still another important thing that needs to be done. They have to eliminate the one guy who's been single-handedly saving Earthrealm time and time again. Liu Kang is meditating in the Wuxi Academy when Shang Tsung makes his presence known. At first, the sorcerer is once again getting his ass kicked. But hey, he didn't come alone.
With Quan Chi's assistance, he achieved his goal. Liu Kang is dead.
Goddamn, how's that for a shakeup? Yes, the Deadly Alliance managed to kill the Mortal Kombat champion, Shang Tsung even stealing his soul to enhance his power. As an Elder God, Raiden sees the whole thing and is definitely not happy. The sorcerers return to Outworld and then get to work by attacking the village of Sundo. The innocent townsfolk are unable to fight off Kano, Baraka, and the Tarkatans, and so they are enslaved and put to work building the Deadly Alliance's new palace. This place is built upon the very portal to the heavens Quan Chi brought up before. But one villager can't stand what these monsters have done, and so she rebels and actually attacks Kano. This woman's name is Li Mei. She gets surrounded and can't finish the job, but Quan Chi is so amused by her fighting prowess that he decides to make her an offer. Tell you what, we're holding a fighting tournament. If you win, we'll let the entire village of Sundo go. No strings attached. But if you lose, your soul is ours. I mean, any chance is better than no chance, so Li Mei reluctantly agrees. One more step that needs to be taken is to limit the Forces of Light's method of transportation. For this, they approach a secretive criminal organization that has existed for centuries, the Red Dragon. And if that sounds awfully similar to the Black Dragon, that is no coincidence. It turns out that many years ago, a whole bunch of members got sick of the Red Dragon's rules and restraints and said, fuck this noise, we're gonna start our own clan. One with blackjack and hookers. This is how the Black Dragon came to be. It's like in wrestling how there was the original NWO and then there was the Wolf Pack. Anywho, the Deadly Alliance approached Movado, a member of the Red Dragon, and asked him to sabotage the Special Forces Outer World Investigation Agency. See, like Hydra, they infiltrated the military a long time ago and can destroy all of their portal technology. If they do this, they will be spared from the coming invasion. Movado agrees, and he orders his inside mole, Su Hao, to plant a bomb in the Special Forces facility. Su Hao is a Mongolian wrestler whose pierced heart has been repaired through cybernetics. He plants the explosive but could not do so without earning the attention of Jax. He escapes, the bomb goes off, and Major Briggs vows revenge on the Mongolian traitor. This is bad timing to lose access to the portals, as two of their members are now stranded in Outworld. First up was Cyrax. Now a member of the Special Forces, he became a scout who reports what the other realms are up to. In Outworld, he gets ambushed by Reptile, who damages his teleportation module with acid, meaning he can't get home. So Sony decides to send their newest agent to rescue him, a blind swordsman named Kenshi Takahashi. Years ago, this Japanese warrior was challenging others to sword fights when he happened to catch the attention of Shang Tsung. See, Kenshi descends from a long line of warrior kings whose souls reside inside a tomb known as the House of Takara. Since he shares their blood, he's the only one who can open the well inside. The sorcerer convinces him to do so, only for the guy to get horribly blinded. Shang Tsung sucks up all of the warrior souls for himself, leaving Kenshi to his miserable fate. But as it turns out, this tomb didn't just have spirits inside, it also contained a special sword known as Sento. By grabbing this weapon, all of Kenshi's senses are extremely heightened, giving him the ability to see every sound and spirit around him. He finds he can also reach out and move things with telekinesis. He goes on a revenge quest to search for Shang Tsung, but ultimately finds nothing because the guy lives in Outworld. When the Special Forces develop portal technology, Kenshi offers his services and joins their crew. While in Outworld, he manages to run into Ermac.
Hello, telekinetic.
It is spirit energy.
Show me.
And because he can sense all of the individual spirits residing inside, he uses his power to remove Shao Kahn's hold. Ermac is their own person again, able to live however they want. Kenshi even trains with the Red Ninja, further developing his own skills. Eventually, he gets a mission to search for the missing Cyrax, but wouldn't you know it, Su Hao destroys the base, leaving Kenshi completely stranded in Outworld. And Shang Tsung is all too aware of Kenshi's presence, so he instructs Movado to eliminate the blind swordsman. In return, the sorcerer promises to hand over Kano, the only Black Dragon left. See, Movado's been hunting their entire crew. In fact, the reason he fights with hook swords is because he actually fatally wounded Cabal and took his weapons. Getting Kano would mean finally ending this group of traitors once and for all. This storyline is very interconnected, because now I have to explain why Reptile attacked Cyrax. There is this new character, a vampire named Nitara. Now, she's jealous that Edenia managed to separate from Outworld and wants the same thing for her home realm of Returnus. Unfortunately, it is bound to this place by a special orb that resides inside of a volcano inhabited by the cult of the Dragon King. These guys spend all day worshipping a giant dragon egg, which they believe Onaga will one day return from. In order to protect this baby, they stumbled upon a fire elemental known as Blaze, confronted him on a bridge, and then defeated and captured the guy. Using magic, they completely brainwashed the fire elemental to be the egg's bodyguard. Where did Blaze come from? Don't worry, we'll get to that later. For now, the orb keeping Returnus stuck in Outworld is inside the boiling hot magma of this volcano, and only one person could possibly retrieve it. A man made of metal. Nitara needs Cyrax's help, but has to do a little manipulation in order to get it. So she noticed Reptile, the despondent wizard who now finds himself without a master. Shinnok's gone, Shao Kahn's dead, the guy has no one to answer to anymore. And since mindless obedience is the only thing this guy ever knew, he's more than willing to listen to Nitara when she asks him to help her. She tells him to damage Cyrax's portal device, and Reptile does so. Afterwards, Nitara corners Cyrax and tells him that she can get him into Earthrealm through her special necklace, one that has the ability to travel between worlds. But only if he retrieves the orb for her. With no other options, the two head towards the volcano, with Reptile secretly following behind. Anywho, the Deadly Alliance complete their palace, they start killing people and sending their souls into the Dragon King's army. And Raiden gets really fed up. These fuckers have opened a portal to heaven and are stealing spirits to feed on them, and the Elder Gods are just like, we don't need to interfere, someone will figure it out. Good lord, these people are useless. So Raiden goes, screw you guys, I relinquish my post, I'm gonna be protector of Earthrealm again. And Fujin, I don't know what happens to him, he just disappears after this. I mean, the dude got Jay Leno'd, I don't really blame him.
I have relinquished my status as Elder God to return to Earth and lead you all to battle against our old adversaries. We must act now. We must stop this deadly alliance.
Kung Lao lost his best friend and now wants revenge. In order to prepare for the battle ahead, he once again trains with Bo Raicho to learn some of the flying kicks Liu Kang used to win the tournament. And the master? He decides that training isn't enough this time. They killed his best student, and now they need to face the consequences. Bo Raicho enters the fray for the first time. Sub-Zero doesn't normally pal around with the good guys, but ever since he reformed the Lin Kuei, Raiden saw the clan for the useful protectors that they are. He not only brings his own strength, but that of his new apprentice. Enter Frost, a female warrior who single-handedly defeated every other student, earning the attention of the Grand Master. Like Sub-Zero, she is a cryomancer, one with a rather inflated ego. She's arrogant, she doesn't give respect. Bai Liang doesn't approve of her attitude, but thinks she can grow out of it. That's why he brings her along, to put her in real battles that will help gain perspective and enlightenment. It should also be mentioned that Deadly Alliance was also on the Game Boy Advance in the form of Mortal Kombat Tournament Edition. This basically followed the same plot, but included 3 new characters. One of which is Serena, the girl from Mortal Kombat Mythologies. After being blasted by Shinnok, the girl reverted back to her demon form and just hung around doing nothing of note. But then one day, she discovered a secret portal to Outworld. She enters it and finds that simply being in the aura of the living world restores her human appearance. Well, that's something. She also manages to stumble upon Sub-Zero of all people, who has heard about this girl from his brother Bi-Han. Since he knows that she helped him out against Quan Chi, he gladly recruits her into the Lin Kuei. Oh, ain't that nice? Another character in Tournament Edition is Sector. Ever since losing his clan to Sub-Zero, the cyborg has decided to form the Takunin, a Japanese clan made up entirely of remorseless robots. Their plan is to, you guessed it, take over the world. And finally, the last thing I want to talk about regarding the lore is Kitana and her war with Shao Kahn. Even though she managed to unite the Centaurs and Shokan, Kano still proved to be a rather formidable enemy. Goro led the charge in the battle against him, but the numbers game was too high. And worst of all, Quan Chi instructed Nude Saibot to enter the fray and take out the four-armed warrior. The Shadow Ninja accomplishes his goal. Nude kills Goro. This is already a devastating loss when Kitana hears the news about Liu Kang as well. If the Shaolin had accepted her offer earlier, she might still be alive. Anyway, she joins the forces of light to take out the Deadly Alliance. But that's all the backstory. Now it's time to find out what exactly happened in this game. Well, a lot of bad things, as it turns out. Frost gets tired of Sub-Zero's sanctimonious attitude and attacks him before he can meet up with the other heroes. She manages to wrestle the Dragon Medallion from his grasp, but finds out that its power is far too much for her. Frost is frozen solid. The Grandmaster has no choice but to turn back, taking his apprentice back to the Lin Kuei Temple. Movado manages to find his target Kenshi, and he is successful in defeating the guy. He mortally wounds Mr. Takahashi, leaving him to bleed out. It's only thanks to Sub-Zero stumbling upon his body that the guy manages to survive. As reward for eliminating your enemy, the Deadly Alliance lure Kano into Movado's trap. The two dragons battle it out with Movado coming out on top. He beats the Australian thug and takes him to see his master. Meanwhile, Scorpion is still super pissed at Quan Chi and eventually learns of the Deadly Alliance's plan in Outworld. He proceeds to enter their palace from the basement, not realizing that Shang Tsung has placed some dangerous enemies there. You see, the shapeshifter never planned on sharing his power with Quan Chi. He always planned on backstabbing the guy when their plan succeeded. So, when two dangerous Oni with chips on their shoulders manage to pop up in the Dragon King's tomb, Shang decides to place them in the dungeons for safekeeping. That's right, Scorpion runs into Moloch and Draman. And as badass as Hanzo is, it's still a 2-on-1 encounter. He gets overwhelmed and falls in battle. Since they can't feed on an undead specter, Moloch and Draman decide to get rid of the guy the best way they know how. By chucking his ass into the palace's Soulnado. The overwhelming purity is too much for the Hellspawn, and his body is ripped to pieces. Jesus Christ. Another warrior in yellow, however, is protected from such a horrible fate. Because Cyrax does manage to enter the hot magma of the Outworld volcano and does manage to find Nitara's orb. She is a vampire of her word, and she does bring the cyborg back to Earthrealm as promised. Shattering the orb, Nitara gets everything she wanted. The Terminus is no longer bound to Outworld and has independence once again. The vampire warps back home at long last. And this whole entire time, Reptile has been following the two, wondering where the hell they disappeared to. But as these thoughts enter his mind, the egg inside of the chamber starts to crack.
A beam of energy ripped out from inside and lanced into Reptile. The ancient prophecy had been fulfilled. The Dragon King had returned.
What the hell does that mean?
Having been enslaved through sorcery to guard the molten incubation chamber, Blaze was finally freed once the Dragon Egg had hatched. He then resumed the quest he had undertaken before being subdued by his captors.
But now we come to the climactic battle at the Palace of the Deadly Alliance. The forces of light all arrive at the connecting bridge entranceway, letting Bo6 go on ahead and scout the area. Inside he finds a tournament, because Li Mei is currently in the finals of the martial arts competition that will earn her village's freedom. And amazingly, the young girl is successful. She manages to become the champion and defeats everybody that the sorcerers throw at her. Too bad it was all for nothing.
Now that she had emerged victorious, the true purpose behind the tournament was finally revealed to her. Her soul would be the last one Shang Tsung needed to completely revive the Dragon King's lost army.
Yep, this is canon. She does occupy one of the mummified corpses until Bo6 storms in, shatters the body she's contained in, thus returning her back to normal. He decides to run off with the poor girl, leaving the other good guys to fight in his stead. But yeah, Raiden, Johnny Cage, Sonya, Jax, Katana, Kung Lao, they all storm the building, only to get ambushed by a Tarkatan horde, and well, they get fucking massacred. I am not kidding. Johnny Cage, dead. Sonya, dead. Jax, dead. The only two who even got close to the sorcerers were Kung Lao and Katana. And of course, they both die too. Good lord, he turned her into a pencil neck. Oh, the humanity! Man, Liu Kang was really carrying this group, huh? The game ends with the Thunder God taking on the Sorcerers in a 2-on-1 battle.
But the combined might of Quan Chi and Shang Tsung proved to be overwhelming, even for a Thunder God. Raiden was defeated. The Deadly Alliance had won.
The writers really wanted to change it up this time because everybody has a bad ending. The bad guys win completely, and with no one to get in their way, they immediately turn on each other. But in the end, only one sorcerer can stand tall above all others, and Quan Chi is the champion of the Deadly Alliance. Now before I get into what happens next, I need to talk about the next game's quest mode. As mentioned previously, Deception contains a gigantic adventure where you travel the realms and learn every character's fighting style. Set before the original game, it follows the exploits of a young Shaolin named Shujinko. See, he's just a little kid of the White Lotus Society who one day aspires to enter the Mortal Kombat tournament so that he can defeat Goro and Shang Tsung. However, Bo6 Round says that he's too inexperienced to be trained seriously. That's when a mysterious figure appears.
Greetings, Shujinko.
Who? What are you?
Do not be afraid. I am Namashi. The Elder Gods are in need of a champion. One who could complete a quest to save the realms.
So little Shujinko here finds himself being called up to save the world. Granted a special power that allows him to absorb the fighting style of anybody that he battles. Using this new trick, he impresses Bo6 so much that the Drunken Master agrees to train him. Doing so takes 5 years. But the young Shaolin is finally as capable as Liu Kang was, able to complete Damashi's quest of searching for the Kami Dogu. What the hell are Kami Dogu? Well, once upon a time, the universe as it existed was just one big ethereal plane, filled with elder gods and a dangerous force of nature known as the One Being.
The One Being fed off the Elder Gods and consumed them. The war raged in the Terminus Ee until 6 Elder Gods ordered the Kami Dogu and used them to splinter the One Being into the many realms.
So yeah, Earthrealm, Outworld, these locations all used to be part of this one being. The Kami Dogu had the power to create reality, and so them falling into the wrong hands would definitely be bad. Knowing this, Shujinko is encouraged to do whatever it takes to find them all, including stealing Bo6's warrior medallion to prove that he's the real deal. This earns him the respect of the Lin Kuei, leading Shujinko to the very first Kami Dogu. His next stop would be the Netherrealm, where he encounters a demon known as Ashra. This lady used to belong to the Brotherhood of Shadow, just like Serena. However, she was a little more rebellious and questioned Quan Chi's orders on multiple occasions. The sorcerer decided that she was no good as a servant and tried to assassinate her. While running away, Ashra discovers a special trick, a sword with a rather purifying power. For every demon that she slays with this weapon, her soul is cleansed of evil more and more.
By slaying demons with an enchanted sword, I will gradually transform into a being whom this realm cannot contain. Eventually, I will be free.
So Shujinko trains with Ashra and even helps her find the Legion of Souls known as Ermac, because she believes slaying him as well as Liu Saibot will be just the thing to get her into heaven. Regardless, this journey helps Shujinko find the second Kami Dogu. His next destination would be one of 2 new realms introduced in this game, Chaos Realm and Order Realm. These names are pretty self-explanatory, as Order Realm, aka Sado, values law above everything else. They do not tolerate dissension or free-thinking individuals who would upset the balance of their society. Even a crime as small as jaywalking can lead to gigantic prison sentences. Naturally, this makes the world quite oppressive, and so there are a few people who broke free from these chains. One man is Darius, a guy who started up his own militant rebellion to commit terrorist attacks and overthrow the government. He regularly employs the help of Dairu, a mercenary who used to be a respectable guard until he was imprisoned for a crime of passion. See, an assassin killed his family, and Dairu just couldn't let that go. He murdered his family's killer, only to be imprisoned for doing so. Feeling that his loyalty meant nothing and that the assassin was just going to be killed anyway, he breaks out and vows to never enforce the law ever again. What's messed up is that his family was assassinated by Darius. Yeah, he didn't do it out of spite or revenge, he just wanted Dairu to break so that he could manipulate him. The mercenary never finds this out, by the way, as his character would never make a return past Armageddon. Damn. No, his focus in deception is to do a contract killing on the guardsman's greatest warrior, a man named Hotaru. And Hotaru is as extreme as any cop can get. He values law and order above everything else, even his friends and family. Order Realm is constantly at odds with the neighboring world of Chaos Realm, and this place is really nutty. Objects float in the sky for no reason, there's no government, everyone does whatever they want. And one man in particular wants the entire universe to be this way. A cleric of chaos known as Havoc. Half of his face has rotted off and you can see his skull, which apparently means nothing in this realm. Hell, Havoc can snap his bones and bring them back together like it ain't no thing. The dude hates order and he hates rules and he doesn't honor promises or contracts. Randomness and anarchy is the defining philosophy for this guy.
Can you point me to that chap, Havoc?
So it makes sense that the Joker becomes his best friend when he gets appears in Mortal Kombat 11. Anywho, Shujinko finds his third Kamidogu inside of a body of water here, but again, because Chaos Realm doesn't follow conventional rules, the world accelerates around him and he gets even older. Oops. Shujinko's next stop is Outworld, but upon arriving, he gets accosted by Melina, who informs him that Shao Kahn plans to brutally conquer the city of Lei Chen. Not wanting innocent people to suffer, he decides to liberate this village by searching for help to fight off the Emperor's armies.
If word of our struggle were to reach Sado, the realm of order, their elite guardsmen may give us aid.
In order to convince them, the village's leader, King Zafiro, tells Shujinko to find a valuable artifact to barter for their freedom. And wouldn't you know it, it's the Kamidogu. Well, he can't very well give that up, so Shujinko tells Hotaru that if he were to help, the city of Lei Chen would gladly let them occupy the place.
King Zafiro seemed not to recall that arrangement.
Men often do not recall the details of bargains they make out of desperation.
Wow, Shujinko, that was just a straight-up lie.
You have sacrificed much in pursuit to the elder gods these long years. Therefore, they are granting you that which you have desired since your childhood. A chance to compete in the Mortal Kombat tournament in Earthrealm and defeat the sorcerer Shang Tsung.
So Shujinko catches up to the first game. He returns to Earthrealm and encounters both Kenshi as well as Nightwolf. The shaman feels his spiritual aura and realizes that his time spent in the Netherrealm has corrupted his soul. Nightwolf offers to purify him, albeit through an extremely lengthy process. Shujinko, who has nothing better to do before the tournament, figures, sure, why not? He trains with the Matoka tribe for many years, aging him up even more.
I have undergone a spiritual cleansing.
This is an unfortunate turn of events.
Unfortunate? An evil stain has been cleansed from my soul.
The taint you refer to allows you to enter realms otherwise inaccessible to other beings.
So yeah, all those years are wasted as Damashi tells the guy to go back to the Netherrealm so he can be more evil again. And him competing in the tournament? That's off. Not sure why he wanted him to do this, it doesn't help him find the Kamidogu in any way, but whatever. Shujinko also runs into Raiden for the first time, who seems perplexed to hear that he's the Elder God's champion. Anyway, our hero spends a long time in hell. In fact, he doesn't get out until Deadly Alliance happens. at which point he runs into Raiden again, who asks him for help in taking out the two sorcerers. So Shujinko goes back to Outworld, immediately gets captured by Kano, and is sent to Sundo to build the Deadly Alliance's giant palace. It's here that he meets a frustrated Li Mei, who he teaches martial arts. I repeat, Shujinko is the one who taught Li Mei how to fight. Anyway, after doing so, the warrior makes a break for it, and he decides to get help from the neighboring city of Lake Chen. After all, Hotaro's beaten back Shao Kahn's army before, surely he can do the same again.
Hotaru, it is good to see. You have violated my orders. You were to go indoors when the toll sounded. I just recently arrived. I had no knowledge of any ordinance.
Ignorance is not an excuse. I am placing you under arrest for disregarding the laws of this city.
Yeah, Shujinko gets arrested for violating curfew, and it takes many years for his trial to begin. He spends the remainder of his life in a jail cell for breaking curfew. What in the fuck, Hotaru? Darius is right. Fuck the Order Realm. Burn it to the ground. Wash it away in a wave of death. Also, time might flow differently in Order Realm because there is no way that the Deadly Alliance conflict has been going on for years. Raiden was just gathering people to storm the place. I mean, if time is flowing correctly, what the fuck was he waiting for? Johnny Cage to finish filming his movie? Either way, eventually Dairu shows up to break Shujinko out of jail at the request of his client, Damashi. Our hero can't believe that the Elder Gods would allow innocent guardsmen to die and finds all of this quite sketchy. Nevertheless, while breaking out, he happens to find the 5th Kamidogu, go figure. It allows him to enter Edenia, where Shao Kahn's armies have taken over the palace. Kitana asks Shujinko to help rescue her mother from Tanya, and he does just that. As reward for saving the queen, Shujinko is given the final Kamidogu! Holy shit, the quest is over!
My quest is almost at an end.
What is ending is your memory fair to the Elder Gods, mortal.
Scorpion!
Okay, so after being cast into the Soulnado by Moloch and Ramen, Scorpion finds himself in the heavens alongside the Elder Gods. And they make him a deal. Someone bad is trying to destroy the universe, trying to resurrect the one being. And if he agrees to be their champion, they will bring back his family and clan from the dead. This is by far the most important thing to Hanzo Hasashi, so Scorpion gladly agrees to be the Elder God's champion. He goes to stop the one assembling the Kamidogu. He goes to stop Shujinko, who is not the Elder God's champion. It's a valiant effort, but the Shaolin is far too powerful thanks to the dozens of fighting styles he's picked up.
The Kamidogu should have been transported to the Elder Gods. Why is it not happening?
Shujinko, please save me!
Damashi does not exist. I manipulated this astral beyond the boundaries of death, and in turn, manipulated you. I am Onaga, the Dragon King of Outworld and soon-to-be ruler of all that exists. I will take these artifacts and have sorted them in collected form. I am afraid they will not make it into the hands of the Elder Gods after all. And so, Shujinko, your quest is done.
The old Shaolin makes a break for it, escaping into Earthrealm's portal. But Onaga does not give chase. Now that he has a body again, thanks to Reptile, he proceeds to the Deadly Alliance's palace to take Shinnok's amulet as well as his army. Quan Chi tries to fight him off, it doesn't work. Shang Tsung gets up and helps him out, that doesn't work. Even Raiden, knowing full well how dangerous Onaga is, decides to help the two sorcerers take him down.
Raiden begins to realize that even their combined might was not enough to defeat the Dragon King. Raiden's sacrifice was in vain, for the blast had little effect on the Dragon King. Now Onaga has what he needs to shape the realms as he sees fit. I was the fool who brought him this power. Only I can destroy this threat, born of deception.
So yeah, Onaga is pretty powerful thanks to the Kamidogu. His plan is to merge the items together to gain ultimate power, but doing so will unwittingly resurrect the one being, which will result in the end of the universe as we know it. Onaga wastes no time in taking over the Deadly Alliance's army, recruiting both Baraka and Tanya to his cause. He even goes over to the dead forces of light and resurrects them to be his mindless service. Because apparently, that's a power he has. Regardless, Kitana, Johnny Cage, Kung Lao, and all the others are all brainwashed, working for the Dragon King. You wouldn't know this outside of Ermac's ending because none of these characters were playable or fightable in the base version of Deception. Onaga leads his troops to the realm of Edenia because the secrets to merging the Kamidogu lie there. Using Kitana as a hostage, he easily submits Queen Sindel into surrendering because she dare not lay a finger on her daughter. Jade, on the other hand, is not so soft, and she battles and defeats Kitana in order to free the queen. The brainwashing doesn't go away, so the two women have to flee to Outworld to escape Onaga's wrath. Jade and Sindel will not stop until they discover a way to save Kitana. Baraka goes into the Edenian prison and finds his old concubine, Melina. Onaga figures that a duplicate of Kitana could be mighty useful, so he orders her to take her sister's place, leading the Outworld armies to their doom. I'm not sure why she can't use the actual Kitana for this. Maybe she's just super brain dead as a brainwashed slave. Either way, Melina gains control of Kitana's army. With Quan Chi dead, Noob Saibot finds himself without a master for the very first time. With no one to answer to, he figures now is the time for his ascension. He is going to build an army that will allow him to conquer the Netherrealm and become its ruler. Entering the dungeons of Shao Kahn's fortress, he finds Smoke, a long-forgotten war trophy of the Earthrealm invasion. Resurrecting him with his own nanotechnology, the Revenant reprograms the cyborg to obey him, becoming his first minion. They go forward to build Noob's army when they come across a certain warrior. After being betrayed by Frost, Sub-Zero discovers some ice caves in Outworld, which turn out to be the ruins of a long-forgotten sect of cryomancers. Wei Liang comes to the conclusion that he and Bi-Han must have descended from this group, and so he adorns himself in their armor. And that's why in Deception, the dude looks like Shredder from the Ninja Turtles. While in Outworld, he discovers the Wraith with his best friend, Smoke. He trails them all the way into the Netherrealm, but eventually they become aware and subdue him. And that's when the series finally gets to the big twist reveal about Noob Saibot.
He was unaware that they were followed by someone Noob had not seen since before he became a Wraith. Smoke instantly recognized their visitor. He was an echo of their past. He was Sub-Zero, Noob Saibot's brother.
Yeah, this was never established until Deception, but Noob is Bi-Han, the very same man killed in the first Mortal Kombat tournament, a being turned into pure evil by Quan Chi's sorcery. And while Sub-Zero would have treated Kuai Liang with love and respect, Noob Saibot only sees an enemy to kill. He goes to murder his brother when Serena, of all people, shows up to save the day. See, while she was told to hang back at the Lin Kuei headquarters, she couldn't help but feel honor-bound to protect Kuai Liang as thanks for Bi-Han's mercy. She followed him into the Netherrealm and saved the Grandmaster, turning this handicap match into a tag team. They defeat Noob and Smoke, causing them to run away and lick their wounds. However, being back in the Netherrealm, Serena's body reverts back to its demonic form, which Sub-Zero does not recognize. He attacks her, causing her to run away as well. Kuai Liang lives to fight another day, and now he's obsessed with saving his brother. Meanwhile, you remember how Movado mortally wounded Cabal and stole his hook swords? Well, Havoc, the cleric of chaos, managed to find the guy. He nursed him back to health and then made a suggestion that he should return the Black Dragon to its former glory. And I guess Cabal didn't hate the group as much as he said he did, because he totally agreed to not only resurrect the gang, but to make it much more brutal and vicious than ever before. He finds two new recruits in the form of Kira and Cobra. Kira is a ruthless weapons dealer from Afghanistan, and Cobra is a street fighter from America. In fact, you may look at Cobra and think to yourself, Wait a minute, that's just Ken Masters. Yeah, the developers basically decided to make Violent Ken a character in their game. What if Ken got off on murdering people in street fights? Well, then you get Cobra. Cabal manages to find Lovato and wins in a rematch with the guy, taking back his hook swords. His bio says that he kills him, but of course, the character returns for Armageddon, so I don't know what happened there. And now we come to the big twist returns. So the Thunder God Raiden blew himself up in order to destroy Onaga. And while this blast did kill the Deadly Alliance, being a god, his energies eventually reform and return him back to life. However, Raiden comes back a completely different man. Not only is he wearing dark clothing, his eyes are bright red. The guy has turned edgy. He's become sick of these endless wars, sick of people like Shujinko completely fucking everything up for Earthrealm. He now has a strict no-tolerance policy. If you threaten Earthrealm in any way, you will die. If you do not help him protect Earthrealm, you are an enemy. Dark Raiden is here, and he's here to stay. His first act with this new mindset is to resurrect Liu Kang. He brings the champion's corpse to a ceremonial site for necromancers, shackles it to the table, and proceeds to breathe life into the being once more. This does not mean that Liu Kang the person is alive, merely that his body is an undead warrior that will do Raiden's bidding. The Thunder God sends the Shaolin Zombie to destroy and eliminate all of Earthrealm's enemies, people who would threaten its very safety. So yeah, in Deception, Zombie Liu Kang is a playable character, and it's not exactly the hero we all remember. However, the actual Liu Kang is still around. Since Shang Tsung was destroyed, all of the souls contained within him are free to at last ascend to the heavens. But our noble hero decided to hang back and help his friends defeat Onaga. Bo6 finds the situation in Outworld to be quite hopeless. He joins Katana's army with Liu Mei, but finds that Onaga is invincible, and that there is no chance of winning. But then, Liu Kang appears before him, giving him an incredible pep talk. And with this newfound determination, he rallies the army against Baraka and his Tarkatans, and they actually manage to defeat them and push them all back. And keep in mind, this was a trap! Katana is actually Melina, remember? And she purposefully sent the armies exactly where Baraka's troops expected them to go, and they still lost the fight! Melina is shocked at the result, but at the same time, she has an epiphany. Because now, she's in control of the greatest army in Outworld. Why does she need to listen to Onaga when she is currently the most powerful person in the realm? Melina's always wanted to be a leader, and since everyone thinks she's Katana, she's exactly that. She turns on Baraka and decides to actually lead the troops against the Dragon King. But Liu Kang isn't done inspiring people, because eventually he finds the Legion of Souls known as Ermac. Appealing to their nature of being mindless slaves to Shao Kahn, he convinces them to save his friends from Onaga's control. And again, amazingly, this works! Ermac manages to confront all of the heroes that were killed in Deadly Alliance, fending them off one by one as Liu Kang restores them back to normal. Sonya, Jax, Johnny Cage, Kung Lao, and Katana are all brought back to their senses. And this takes us to the finale of Deception. With the Kamidogu, Onaga is invincible, but one man has the power to shatter these objects and weaken the Dragon King. Shujinko has spent the entire adventure learning every single person's combat style, and thus has become quite proficient. He challenges Onaga and manages to destroy the Kamidogu in the throne room, bringing the Emperor back to normal. Well, it's a good thing destroying these objects didn't completely unmake the universe, huh? Either way, Onaga's deception would be his undoing. Shujinko defeats the Dragon King. Meanwhile, this whole time, Nightwolf has been on a journey to the Netherrealm so that he may strip Onaga's soul from his body and contain it in hell. He unleashes the sins of his Matoka tribe to do so, keeping the villain bonded to a special rune. No longer possessed, Reptile's body returns back to normal as all of our heroes celebrate. So yeah, if you ever wondered how both Reptile and Onaga can coexist in Armageddon, there you go. But yeah, Shujinko saves the day. All's well that ends well, right? Well, kinda. See, eventually this game comes to the Nintendo GameCube, and with it, 2 new characters. And, well, it's Goro and Shao Kahn. Now wait a minute, didn't they both die? Well, of course they did, but it turns out that when Shao Kahn was recuperating after his loss in MK3, he created a clone of himself to take his place on the throne. I mean, yeah, I guess because of Melina, we know that cloning exists. It's just kind of goofy that the Deadly Alliance didn't kill the real deal. No, the real Shao Kahn heard about his clone getting murdered and went into hiding. Now, Noob Saibot did defeat Goro, yes, but as he lay dying, he eventually gets found by Shao Kahn, and the Emperor makes him an offer basically saying, look, I'm going to make Outworld great again. You should come back to my side because I will be unstoppable and we're going to take over the whole friggin' realm. What do you say? And Goro, even though he's tired of war, even though he made a promise to Katana that he was going to be on her side, Goro just decides, yeah, okay, I'm going to join up with you, Shao Kahn. No! Goro, you traitor! So, in order to disguise the fact that Goro was killed, he put his emblem, his clothing, his mark, on another disfigured Shokan, and that's why everyone thought Goro was dead, because, you know, he was wearing Goro's medallion, or Goro's special armor, or whatever. I don't know. That's why they thought he was dead, and why he's not actually dead. Oh, and he doesn't just have Goro back under his control. He also gets Shang Tsung back under his control. Because it turns out, when Shang Tsung chose to serve under the Emperor, he made like a magic blood pact underneath the guy. And so even though he blew up in the palace, Raiden killed Shang Tsung, but his body is bound to Shao Kahn, and as long as Shao Kahn is alive, then Shang Tsung can just come back to life, or his soul will drift to Shao Kahn. I don't know. Look, the thing you need to know about the next game in the series, Armageddon, is that it brings back every single character that's ever existed. And I mean all of them. And the game did not come with biographies for every single character. Supposedly, John Vogel and all the others wrote biographies for everybody, but they didn't have time to implement them into the game itself. And so, after the game came out, on a website, they started doling out biographies one after another, until eventually they just decided to stop doing it so that they could focus on the next Mortal Kombat game. And there are a few biographies for Armageddon that are out there in the wild, including Shang Tsung's, which explains why he's back from the dead. But other characters, there's really no explanation given. For example, Motaro is playable in Armageddon, right? But now he is no longer a centaur, he is a minotaur. Why is he a minotaur? I don't know. I genuinely don't know. The only thing you get is that when you beat the game as Motaro, his ending says that he was cursed by the Shokan. How was he cursed by the Shokan? I don't know. Apparently this happened to the entire centaur tribe. All I know is that Shao Kahn prefers the Shokan again because Goro aligned with him after deception. There's just a lot of gaps here. There's a lot of holes that I can't exactly answer because they brought back every single character, including obscure ones like Mocap. Mocap was a character introduced in Deadly Alliance, and he's basically a big tribute to Carlos Pestina, the guy who played Raiden in the original Mortal Kombat, who did the motion capture for Deadly Alliance and Deception, and he's literally a motion capture artist who is responsible for the motion capture of Mortal Kombat Deadly Alliance. I'm not making this up. This is the lore. They also brought back the 2 chameleons, Chameleon with a C and Chameleon with a K, who are basically the ninjas, the male and female ninjas, whose color palette keeps swapping depending on which ability they use. Like they can use Scorpion's Spear and Sub-Zero's Ice and Katana's Fans and Jade's, bow staff and all these different things. And Chameleon with a K is interesting because she's actually a Zaterran. She's a Zaterran just like Reptile. Even in her trilogy ending, she wants to get revenge on Shao Kahn for destroying Zaterra, which is kind of interesting, but also kind of confusing why Reptile and Chameleon have never had a connection. They never meet at any point in the lore, even though if these two got together, maybe they could bring back the Zaterran race, you know? I don't know, that'd be kind of interesting. Chameleon with a K is exclusive to the N64 version of Mortal Kombat Trilogy, and she's also exclusive to the Nintendo Wii version of Mortal Kombat Armageddon, so I always like to think of Chameleon as a Nintendo princess. Anyway, Shao Kahn decides to take back his fortress, which has been occupied by Kitana, but as it turns out, Kitana is actually Melina, so the palace is handed over to him pretty easily, no problem. Meanwhile, in the Netherrealm, Onaga is bound to a rune and he can't get out and he's stuck there and everything sucks. And eventually he gets approached by the fallen Elder God Shinnok. Oh yeah, he's not dead. He's just been in hell ever since Mortal Kombat 4. And Shinnok is aware of something rather monumental. He's aware that something significant is about to happen. The fire elemental is making his move. The brothers have woken up. Armageddon is upon us. Okay, so you know how Raiden is the protector of Earthrealm? Well, Edenia has their own protector with a god named Argus. This man is married to a seeress named Delia who has visions of the future. And she anticipates some pretty horrible things.
The powerful warriors to come, the corruption of a Mortal Kombat tournament, the chain of events you foretell will lead to a conflict that will destroy us all. These combatants must be dealt with.
Basically, the end of the world is coming. And so Argus decides to come up with a plan that will neutralize all of these warriors and save the realms. And it involves his children, as well as a fire elemental known as Blaze. Yes, we're finally getting to his backstory. Blaze was created by Delia to wander the realms and monitor how close Armageddon was approaching. He was also designed to be the catalyst that would stop all the fighters for good. But it cannot do all of this alone, as Argus decides this would be a prime opportunity to test the worthiness of his children. This is where the whole thing gets kinda loopy, as Argus subdues his two sons, Taven and Dagon, imprisoning them in some Earthrealm caves to sleep forever until Blaze gives the signal to wake them up. And then, they have to go on a quest to retrieve special weapons and armor in order to prove themselves great warriors worthy of stopping the apocalypse. This way, Argus can figure out who is worthy of becoming the next protector of Edenia. What the hell is that? He makes the fate of the universe all about this competition, this game that he's manufactured, when he could easily just, I don't know, use Blaze to stop everybody when the time comes? Jeez, I'm not surprised Shao Kahn conquered this realm. Regardless, the story mode of Armageddon is from the perspective of one of these children, a man named Taven. We see him get awoken by his dragon protector Orin, and then he has to travel to all of these different temples his father has constructed in order to acquire his weapons. But because Argus didn't exactly tell his kids what was going on, Taven is completely in the dark.
These sleeping figures might be my brother. How long was I unconscious? What's this? It appears as if my brother and I are attacking some demon. I have no memory of that.
But of course, things go horribly wrong as an army in red proceed to attack him throughout the temple. He even discovers that the sword he was supposed to retrieve is now gone. Plus, he gets ambushed by the Black Dragon, by Sector and his Chikunin, by Sonya Blade and the Special Forces. Even the Purple Ninja Rain has a bone to pick with him.
What?
So it is true. Delia's son has returned to claim the prize and save the realms.
It's through Armageddon that we get new insight into Rain's character, as it's revealed that he is a bastard prince. You see, Argus had an affair with an Edenian woman named Amara. And then, he abandoned the baby. That child grew up to be Rain, and the kids had a superiority complex ever since. He hates the father that abandoned him, and his half-brothers Taven and Dagon even more. So yeah, Rain is technically a prince. Wait. The purple ninja Rain is a prince. Purple Rain Prince. Oh, Netherrealm, you cheeky bastards. We also discovered that Delia's temple was taken over by the Lin Kuei, as Taven has to go through all of them to acquire his armor. He even frees Frost from her chunk of ice, in case we're wondering how that happened. After finding his mother's armor, Sub-Zero questions him on why he's here. Taven explains his strange quest, as well as the fact that he's been hunted by men in red armor. It's then that Noob Saibot and an army of wraiths attack the temple. Taven defeats both Smoke and Bihan, earning Kuai Liang's trust.
Your brother? Why did he try to kill you?
He was corrupted long ago, but now I have the chance to save him. The Lin Kuei owe you much, Taven. I will help you find the men who have been hunting you. They are called the Red Dragon, a clan of mysterious warriors. I can't help you get inside their base, but I can reveal its location.
So Taven goes to Charred Mountain, where their base resides, and he comes face to face with the organization's leader.
Dagon! You look older.
I am older. Much older than you, big brother. I formed the Red Dragon clan many ages ago.
Why would you send your clan after me?
Isn't it obvious? I intend to kill you.
What?
The prize will be mine, Taven. I will not risk losing it to you.
Hearing that the Red Dragon have found Blaze, Dagon runs away, leaving his henchman Movado to kill Taven, which of course he fails at. Taven continues running amok through the base, even freeing Kano from his prison, since the guy's been here ever since Deadly Alliance. Apparently they wanted to turn him into this half-human, half-dragon hybrid monster, because when you have access to mad science, you use it, damn it. Anyway, at the end of the base, Taven finds Karo, Dagon's dragon protector, who he locked up in chains, forcing the creature to teleport his soldiers wherever he pleases. The Red Dragon, explains how everything got all messed up. See, when Blaze was captured by the Dragon King's volcano cult, Karo believed that something had gone wrong and prematurely woke Dagon.
Dagon was unbalanced. He was outraged that he had been manipulated by your parents and demanded to know the true purpose of the quest. Whatever he learned must have disturbed him greatly. He killed them both.
Well, damn. The portal Dagon used to escape is still open, so Taven follows after and finds himself in the Netherrealm. He meets up with Shinnok and is surprised to learn that the Elder Gods banished him here. Yeah, the guy was put in that cave millions of years ago. He had no idea. Of course, he doesn't find out the real reason Shinnok's been cast out, so Taven agrees to help him reclaim his tower from Shokan like Shiva and Kintaro. After doing so, Shinnok sends him back to Earthrealm, where he expects him to be trapped forever.
He passed all my tests to destroy my apparitions with ease. More quickly than you did. Perhaps I'm aiding the wrong brother. What?
You swore you would help me, fool.
Shinnok's been aware of Argus's plan for millennia. The fallen Elder God has failed to conquer everything because both the forces of light and Shao Kahn's army are mighty thorns in his side. However, if either Taven or Dagon were to accomplish their task, all of his enemies would be eliminated in one fell swoop. So he aligns with Dagon to give him the advantage and manipulates everyone else to march to their doom. How do you unite Onaga the Dragon King to cooperate with Shao Kahn, who must also cooperate with the Deadly Alliance? You tell them about the prize. You mention the fact that it's not just Taven or Dagon who can win. Anybody who destroys the fire elemental will gain its power. So, Shinnok tells this to Onaga, frees him from his rune, and suggests that the Dragon King suck it up and team up with his enemies. He communicates to all of the evil bad guys about this team up, which somehow attracts the attention of Johnny Cage of all people. Yeah, in the Armageddon bios, Johnny somehow received visions of Shinnok's multiple communication attempts and finds out that he's going to Shang Tsung's island. He shows up and spies on Shinnok, explaining everything about the pyramid and Blaze, telling his big evil plan to a resurrected Quan Chi. Johnny catches Shinnok off guard, successfully defeats the guy, forcing the Elder God to retreat. Or perhaps this was all a ruse, and Shinnok is the one responsible for Johnny's visions. Who's to say? The point is, Johnny tells all of his friends what's going on, and they all agree to team up and meet the bad guys in the canyons of Edenia. Now, Shinnok planned on trapping Taven in Earthrealm by ordering Quan Chi to murder his protector Orin, thereby eliminating the demigod's method of transportation. But because Taven cleared out the tower too quickly, he's just in time to see the sorcerer do the deed. His portal is still active, so our hero proceeds through, ending up in Shao Kahn's fortress.
But the forces of light also seek to acquire this power. You cannot defeat them alone. Only if we join forces does one of us have a chance of winning the prize.
Not which one of us. If Naga is the victor, he could use that power to overthrow you.
I'll take that chance. To war!
And as the forces of darkness march to the final battle, Taven gets interrupted by an unexpected enemy.
Do not go through that portal.
Raiden! You look different. We must not stand idly by. We must stop this.
No, Taven. I have struck a deal with the Emperor. Shao Kahn will honor Earthrealm's independence when his forces have won.
What are you saying? Why would that lunatic spare Earthrealm?
Because in return, I will prevent you from completing your quest.
By the way, this is the start of what I call the dumbass Raiden arc. Because boy oh boy does this guy make some bonehead decisions going forward. Taven defeats Raiden and enters the portal, finding himself in the presence of Scorpion. And Hanzo, well, let's just say he is once again super angry.
I seek revenge.
Revenge against me?
Against the Elder Gods. They betrayed me. As reward for doing their bidding, they promised to resurrect my clan. They are no longer dead. They are the undead.
Good lord, the Elder Gods suck ass. So yeah, Scorpion's been driven into pure fuck the universe mode because his family are mindless zombies. What a note for him to go out on in this timeline. Taven successfully defeats Scorpion, which prompts not only Dagon to appear, but Blaze as well. The elemental transports them to the rim of the crater, where the final battle is about to begin.
This time, my victory is assured.
The only thing that is assured is that you will pay for killing mother and father.
I had to. Lord Shinnok warned me that they had decided to assist you.
You killed them over the prize?
With the very weapons Father gave us to use against Blaze. And now I will use them to destroy you.
Fight!
It's an emotional battle between the two brothers, but Taven comes out on top. Now only he can defeat Blaze. Theoretically.
But you must not let anyone else come back.
Then allow me to win, and we'll put an end to this.
No, Taven. I must act according to my creator's design.
Wow! What a brilliant system you guys came up with! Because at this point, the forces of light and the forces of darkness meet up in the crater, and they just completely go to war. It's also the greatest opening to any Mortal Kombat ever. Also, some of you may be asking, wait, why is Shinnok there? Won't he get destroyed if Dagon won the prize? You're right. But as we find out in Shinnok's non-canon ending, he actually sent a doppelganger in his stead. That's some 4D chess right there, I gotta say. But anyway, eventually, as everyone is killing each other, a gigantic pyramid rises from out of the ground. At the top sits Blaze, who under Delia's advanced sorcery has transformed into a hulked-out super fruit. Yeah, but Blaze, now Taven has to run a super long distance to reach the pyramid, and everybody else is already at the fucking thing! Again, there are so many combatants and the fight is so intense that people are struggling to even climb this damn thing without killing one another. Bo6's puking on everybody, they're climbing on each other's back, even the bad guys give up the pretense and just start going after each other. It's a battle royale. Who won Armageddon? Well, before anything, it's a bloodbath. Shinnok's doppelganger killed Kung Lao, Sub-Zero killed Scorpion, Johnny Cage got his head ripped off by Goro, I assume. Nobody survives this battle. All of the good guys, all of the bad guys, they all kill each other. This battle only has 2 survivors. What I do know is that after Liu Kang killed Shang Tsung with his hooks, Raiden came up to the champion next and took him out. This is extra confirmed in Mortal Kombat 11. Taven, he certainly gave it everything he got. He made it right to where Blaze was, and then... Oh no. Shao Kahn made it to the top. He reached the fire elemental before anyone else, and you know, as powerful as Blaze is, he's still dealing with Shao Kahn, the Conqueror. Blaze's power flows into the Emperor, making an already dangerous man that much worse. His strength is increased tenfold, essentially turning him into a god. Shao Kahn is now unstoppable. Raiden, the only other person left alive, can only look in horror as he realizes what a terrible mistake he's made. Shao Kahn eventually kills Raiden and then goes on to merge every single realm with Outworld. The universe enters an endless age of darkness, one where Shao Kahn eventually goes insane. Because apparently, when you have nothing left to conquer, that's just gonna happen. What an ending to the original timeline of Mortal Kombat. But wait, I left a detail out. As Shao Kahn was throwing Raiden around like a rag doll, the Thunder God's medallion ended up breaking into pieces. The Earthrealm Protector clutches its fragments, invoking a special incantation. One that will send a message to himself.
He
must win.
So now, folks, we've arrived at the second timeline. We've arrived at Mortal Kombat, which was released in 2011. Most people just refer to it as Mortal Kombat 9. Now, if you've been counting along, you might be a bit confused. Wasn't Armageddon the 7th game in the series? Yes, it was. But in between, NetherRealm did develop a special crossover game in the form of Mortal Kombat vs. DC Universe. This had our favorite combatants crossing fists with Batman, Superman, Wonder Woman, and all the other super-powered individuals. It's supposed to take place between MK3 and MK4, but it's very non-canon. I mean, the game ends with Shao Kahn being stuck in the DC universe and then getting locked away into the Phantom Zone. Also, for some reason, the bios say that Shao Kahn and Raiden are brothers. What? Did someone do their homework with the movies?
Shao Kahn, my brother.
Well, either way, I'm skipping this entry. The video's way too long as it is. So Mortal Kombat 9 is what we like to call a soft reboot. Yes, it is resetting everything about the story, taking it back to basics, and starting all over. However, it is still in continuity with everything that came before. When Armageddon Raiden talked into his broken medallion, this message was sent all the way back to the original game's tournament, received by the past version of himself. MK9 is essentially a retelling of the first 3 games, but now the Thunder God is aware of everything that's going to happen. For example, before Scorpion battles Sub-Zero, Raiden has a flash that informs him of the outcome and how Bi-Han will transform into Noob Saibot.
Defeat Sub-Zero if you must, but do not kill him. I fear his death will give rise to a more treacherous foe.
I will have revenge.
Spare Sub-Zero's life, and I will request that the Elder Gods return the Shirai Ryu to the realm of mortals.
Raiden, the Elder Gods made that promise last time, and they made them friggin' zombies. Regardless, Scorpion does try to resist killing Bi-Han, but Quan Chi only stokes his anger more with a false mirage showing Sub-Zero doing the deed. Scorpion still kills the guy.
An unfortunate end. He once defended Earthrealm from the Netherrealm army of Shinnok and Quan Chi.
Oh yeah, that's my favorite thing too. Mythologies is still canon to 9, 10, and 11. The characters still reference that old adventure game from 1997. Anywho, Raiden's a little confused because the only direction his future self gave was the phrase, "he must win." Which, I mean, really? You never thought to just say the name of who must win? God, you're dumb. But in the original game's case, Raiden just assumes that Liu Kang must defeat Shang Tsung and everything will be fine. The champion does just that, but no dice.
I do not understand why my hand is further down. He must win. He must come.
At that point, Shang Tsung makes his appearance and the plot of Mortal Kombat 2 begins anew. This time, however, Raiden gets a vision of Sonya being locked in chains and assumes that she's going to be killed by the bad guys if they don't intervene. So, taking Johnny and Jax, they proceed to enter the dungeons and save her life.
It's weird. I've got 2 sets of readings, heavy tech signals, both.
We need to confront the source of each signal.
This leads to the group splitting up, with Raiden and Johnny finding Smoke in the process of being abducted by the Lin Kuei's cyber soldiers. The Thunder God saves Tomas, and in the process completely alters his destiny of becoming a robotic slave. Jax and Sonya, on the other hand, track their signal to find Kuai Liang, as well as the Red Ninja Ermac. Oh my god! Yeah, Ermac blows up Jax's arms, which definitely did not happen before. Again, in the original games, his metal arms were bionic implants. Later, Kuai Liang challenges Scorpion to a fight to avenge his brother. But because Smoke was taken, the Lin Kuei is still hanging around, and they decide to capture Sub-Zero and cyberize him.
Sub-Zero? No! You cannot save him. Stay here, or they will take you as well.
What? Raiden, what are you doing? The Lin Kuei take off with Sub-Zero, and they successfully roboticize the guy. Good lord. Eventually, the finals of the tournament arrive, but since Liu Kang didn't prevent Armageddon, Raiden turns to another.
Perhaps you are meant to be the victor.
No Earthrealm born can stop this deadly alliance.
Ha 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 ha. But for as prideful as Kung Lao is, this is the moment he's been waiting for. Finally, he's going to prove why he's worthy of sharing his ancestor's name. The Shaolin defeats both Shang Tsung, Quan Chi, and Kintaro. He can't help but boast towards the disapproving crowd.
See how this works. Take it down.
Kung Lao is murdered by Shao Kahn, forcing a super pissed off Liu Kang to avenge his friend. Like before, the Shaolin defeats the Emperor, but at what cost?
Kung Lao's death is my fault. I encouraged him. Our triumph was not meant to be achieved in this way. It cannot be. Shao Kahn is dead.
But of course we know that he definitely isn't. And thus, Sindel is resurrected to kick off the plot of Mortal Kombat 3. And you remember how that began, right? Outworld forces invade the city, the extermination squads hunt for Liu Kang, and they end up finding Johnny Cage. The Hollywood actor was killed here. Well, this time Raiden has a vision of it happening, so he makes his move.
Johnny Cage fighting a giant monster? What is this, Time Smashers?
Raiden takes out Motaro and saves Johnny Cage's life. Finally, a good outcome. Oh no, you don't understand. This is the single biggest mistake Raiden makes throughout all of Mortal Kombat 9. Before we get to that though, at some point Cabal ends up crossing paths with the cyberized Sub-Zero and successfully defeats him in a fight. That's when Raiden and Smoke appear and they proceed to save and reprogram the Cryomancer. Since the bad guys don't realize that Sub-Zero is good again, he infiltrates them in order to find out what they're up to. And that's when he stumbles upon them sacrificing soldiers to create the giant Death Soulnado that will kill everyone. It's also here that Kuai Liang learns the fate of his brother much earlier than before.
Bi-Han? Yes, Kuai Liang. It is I, Quan Chi restored.
We are flawed copies of our former selves.
I have no flaws.
The Soulnado starts up, so Nightwolf tells Sub-Zero to make a run for it. Then he proceeds to battle Noob Saibot, uppercutting the motherfucker into the Whirlwind of Death. Surprisingly, this magic doesn't like it when revenants get involved. The Soulnado actually dissipates.
Earthrealm souls are safe. No! How is it not enough? I must speak with the Elder Gods. Shao Kahn's violation must be punished.
But the battle is joined here, in Earthrealm.
Nightwolf, you will lead until we return.
As you wish, Hayoka.
Now we must return to the subject of Motaro's death, because Shao Kahn just lost the leader of his extermination squads, and now he needs to be replaced.
I will go to Earthrealm to finish Motaro's work.
Shang Tsung,
Yes, Emperor.
the Empress requires something of you.
So the Conqueror proceeds to suck all of the souls out of his sorcerer, thereby killing Shang Tsung. And then he transfers all of them to Sindel, increasing her power far beyond what it was originally. Armed with Lin Kuei robots, the Queen busts into the church that the forces of light are hiding in and proceeds to just annihilate them. And I don't mean figuratively. Cabal, dead. Striker, dead. Jax, dead. Smoke, dead. I'm not kidding! Sindel is playing like she's controlled by Sonic Fox, and she just kills everybody. Nightwolf, seeing how unbelievably strong she is, sacrifices himself with his own light power, killing both Sindel and himself at the same time. Only Johnny Cage and Sonya Blade survived this encounter.
Katana!
Dropped him like a sack of dog shit.
They are dead.
Climb to heaven. Now I must plunge into the depths. I will go to Quan Chi, ally our realm with his against the forces of Outworld.
What? I had prayed it not true. But you have gone mad, Raiden.
And indeed, Raiden does ask for Quan Chi's help.
Earthrealm's defenses are overwhelmed. You have mere hours. Name your terms. What? Offer the souls of Earthrealm warriors who die in this conflict.
Raiden! What the fuck is wrong with you? He's just an absolutely careless, dumb individual in this game, I swear. But Quan Chi has no intention of helping. He's already laid claim to numerous warriors who have died, including the Forces of Light. Just like Noob Saibot, Kitana, Sub-Zero, Sindel, Nightwolf, Striker, Kung Lao, everybody who died is now a revenant slave of Quan Chi's. The absolute worst-case scenario for everyone involved. God, Raiden, you really fucked up!
The Elder Gods are toothless. Your world is near destruction, yet they do not act. They must! Only through mortal combat may Shao Kahn merge the realms, lest he face the judgment of the Elder Gods. Lest he face the judgment of the Elder Gods. He must win. Thank you, Quan Chi. I now know what must be done.
So yeah, apparently the winning solution this whole entire time was to let Shao Kahn go through with it. But when Shao Kahn arrives, Liu Kang is still determined to defeat him.
Liu Kang, stop!
Raiden! No! Enough of your madness! If you must die, so be it!
By the gods, no!
Yep. Raiden accidentally kills the Chosen One. He kills Liu Kang. Christ. And yes, Quan Chi takes advantage of this and turns the Mortal Kombat champion into a Revenant as well. Holy hell, Raiden, you fumbled the bag so badly. But finally, Shao Kahn stepped through the portal and Raiden surrenders. At least at the very end, he was correct. The Elder Gods finally step in and proceed to destroy the Outworld Conqueror at long last. And there are no clones or dark magic that can undo this. The Emperor is truly obliterated. But Jesus Christ, the body count. Everyone is dead! Well, almost everyone.
It is time. Soon I will be free. Earth realm and outworld.
And that takes us to my personal favorite game in the series, Mortal Kombat 10. And I'm gonna be honest, guys, when I chose to do the insane lore of Mortal Kombat, I was most interested in covering everything up to this point, you know? Obviously, the 3D era has been long forgotten by a lot of people, but even Mortal Kombat 9, you can no longer purchase digitally. The only way to play that game is with a physical copy or through piracy. So, you know, it just felt like that was appropriate to recap that game and to explain how the second timeline began. But when it comes to Mortal Kombat 10, 11, and 1, all of these games are freely available on Steam, on PlayStation Network, on even the Switch, because Mortal Kombat finally came back to the Switch. Ugly graphics be damned. And, I feel like when it comes to the last three games, you could just watch a story mode and you get the big gist of it, you know? Like, don't get me wrong, Mortal Kombat 10 introduces character interactions, and those add so much personality to every single character in the game. Even the jobbers like Reptile and Ermac, it just gives them so much more depth than they've ever had before. And there's so many cool twists and so many cool things that happen with Mortal Kombat 10 that the story mode alone just doesn't cover, you know? These games I'm going to talk about without a script. I'm just going to condense them and go through them really, really quickly because you can buy these games right now. They're probably the most fresh in people's heads, and I've taken a little too long to make this video, so... Mortal Kombat 10 is essentially the Mortal Kombat 4 of the second timeline, although the battle with Shinnok lasts about an hour, because we just cut to the middle of a battle where Johnny Cage and Sonya Blade and Raiden and Fujin and Kenshi, who's joined them, is battling with Quan Chi and all of his new buddies, the Forces of Light, who have been turned into Revenants. And then Johnny Cage, he goes to protect Sonya from one of Shinnok's powerful blasts, and it turns out his green energy field, the green energy power that he's always had, can resist Shinnok's powers. It turns out that being part of a Mediterranean cult that were bred to battle the gods, they were specifically talking about Shinnok. So Johnny Cage has a special advantage against Shinnok that we didn't know about before. We also discovered that the amulet, Shinnok's amulet, has the ability to suck people into it and keep them trapped there forever if the user so desires to. And Johnny Cage manages to get the amulet to Raiden. Raiden sucks up Shinnok and traps him in the amulet forever.
Johnny... Did we...
Yeah. We got him. War is not over. Quan Chi has escaped. Why are you smiling? She called me Johnny.
Sonya and Johnny Cage kind of have this flirty meet-cute thing going on, which wasn't really a thing in the games. Not really. Johnny Cage and Sonya were just kind of left to their own devices. But 10 decides to take a cue from the movie and actually incorporate them into a relationship. They actually fall for each other. Being the survivors of Mortal Kombat, they bond and get close. And then eventually, on a mission towards the Netherrealm, they find Quan Chi as well as Jax, Scorpion, and Sub-Zero. Sub-Zero, in particular, is no longer a robot. I guess Quan Chi can just get him out of his robotic shell and put him back into human form. So, you know, in case you're wondering why he wasn't a robot for the rest of the series, Quan Chi did it. I don't know. Sonya kicks Quan Chi in the balls, and this undoes his Revenant spell, reverting both Jax, Scorpion, and Sub-Zero back to being alive. It turns them back into being human. And this is the first time ever that Hanzo Hasashi is no longer an undead specter since, like, the first stage of mythology, so that's kind of interesting. And then, Mortal Kombat 10 jumps, like, 20 years ahead into the future. We jump ahead where Johnny Cage and Sonya and all the characters you know and love are much, much older, and they've all had kids. Combat kids, to be precise.
As the secretary pointed out, us older folks are going to retire someday. So it's time for the new generation to step up. Shaolin, Shirai Ryu, SF. together.
Johnny Cage and Sonya got married, and they had a daughter named Cassie Cage, who is both a very great Special Forces agent, as well as a snarky, sarcastic, kind of goofy little girl like her dad. Jax, having been turned human, got extreme PTSD. He got really fucked up being Quan Chi's slave, and he gets some rehabilitation, and he meets a woman there, and they get married, and then Jax has a daughter named Jacqueline Briggs. Both Cassie and Jacqueline join the Special Forces. And then you have Takeda, the son of Kenshi. Kenshi met a woman named Suchin, they fell in love, they had a kid, that was Takeda. But the Red Dragon have a beef with Kenshi for some reason, and they end up killing Kenshi's wife. And so, in order to protect his son, he left him with Hanzo Hasashi, who is starting up the Shirai Ryu all over again. So Takeda both has telekinesis like his father, and he was trained by Scorpion. He is trained as a Shirai Ryu. So he's got these cool whip things and telekinesis, and he's probably the coolest of the combat kids. And then there's Kung Jin, a distant cousin of Kung Lao, who started out as a beggar and a thief. One day gets met by Raiden, who encourages him to join the White Lotus Society.
Join the Shaolin, like Kung Lao before you.
I can't. They don't accept.
They care only about what is in your heart, not who your heart desires.
He eventually becomes part of the Shaolin, and he becomes a dedicated archer, so he uses a bow and arrow, which makes him kind of unique as well. I always liked the combat kids. A lot of people don't like them, and I just like that Mortal Kombat was taking the story further down the timeline, I feel like the series has been around since 1992. Let's age these characters up a bit, Let's give them all kids. Let's have things completely changed, like with Outworld. Because Shao Kahn has been destroyed by the Elder Gods, so what happened to that place? Well, at first, the lineage passed on to his only daughter, which was Melina. But everyone found that Melina was a terrible ruler, and they didn't like serving under her, and so a person named Kotal, who I mentioned before, would have died in Shang Tsung's flesh pits if Shang Tsung himself was not killed by Shao Kahn. So, Kotal gets to survive. He is part of the Oshtek realm. He's got all of these Mayan features. I think he actually shows up in Earthrealm and he's mistaken for Mayans or whatever. He decides to plan a coup along with his Haitin associate, Devora, who is this creepy bug lady who can puke bugs into your mouth and kill you that way. It's very disgusting, but she's fucking cool. She's one of the best characters. Any Reptile, Ermac, they all turn on Melina. The only person who doesn't turn on Melina is Baraka, but his ass gets killed for it. Melina makes a getaway so that she can create a rebellion later, but Kotal becomes the new Khan. He becomes Kotal Khan. He rules over Outworld. Melina ends up attacking Kotal one day, and she ends up attacking him with Shinnok's amulet, which she should definitely not have. It turns out it was stolen by Kano and given to Melina in order to take back Outworld. The Special Forces find out about this, they decide to get involved, and then they go and try to get it back. They eventually capture Melina, and Melina gets a kiss of death from Devora, and Melina is killed. It is very gross. But Kotal shows how vicious and how brutal of a ruler he can be, because he decides that you Earthrealmers, you let this medallion, this amulet, get swiped from under your noses. Well, I'm keeping it now, because you don't know what the fuck you're doing. Shoplifters will be decapitated. I don't give a fuck. Again, Outworld is a very barbaric place, so maybe that's just how things roll over here. But regardless, while they're captured, Devora turns out to be a traitor. Uh-oh, she's actually working for Shinnok. She's actually working for Quan Chi. She gets the amulet and she tries to get it to Quan Chi, who has been captured by Jax when he decides to enter the Nether Realm and beat his ass. So Quan Chi is in the prison. And that's when Scorpion shows up, because Scorpion finds out from Sub-Zero that Quan Chi killed his family. And this is another development I really love. This is a game in which Scorpion and Sub-Zero have a tea party. and they just explain their differences. And Sub-Zero apologizes for the Lin Kuei's complicity. He apologizes that the Lin Kuei had a hand in eliminating his family and clan, and Hanzo and Kuai Liang are actually bros. They're actually buddies in Mortal Kombat 10 and Mortal Kombat 11, and I love that. I love the Fire and Ice tag team. I love that they're the best of friends going forward. It's so cool after all this time. It's awesome. But anyway, nothing will stop Scorpion from getting his revenge. He goes to kill Quan Chi, but Devora shows up just in time to throw the amulet to him so he can incant his spell to release Shinnok. Scorpion does kill Quan Chi. It's awesome because, you know, we've been wanting Scorpion to kill Quan Chi for a very, very long time in this series. He actually does it. But there's a bittersweetness to this, not just because Shinnok is out, but also Liu Kang, Katana, Jade, Sindel, all of them. They're stuck as revenants now. They can't be saved. They can't be cured. They are forever the undead, which is like, oh no. Anyway, the game ends with Shinnok corrupting the Jinsei. The Jinsei is, I guess, the spiritual life force of Earthrealm, and he becomes a weird rock monster. But Cassie Cage, because she has the same ability that her father does, she is able to defeat Shinnok, and she saves the day. Raiden got injured during the scuffle, and they try to heal him with the corrupted Jinsei, but when Raiden gets out, he is, well, he's edgy again.
I will destroy our enemies before they destroy us, starting with you. How later? Not even you can kill Elder God. There are fates worse than death.
We need 3 discs. So then he locked one of the workers' roots.
Yeah, he cuts Shinnok's head off. I guess they never thought to do that before, but that takes us to Mortal Kombat 11, and we get introduced to a new villain.
This is not your destiny, Shinnok.
Okay, Maya.
Once again,
Ready?
reunion. Know this. The arc of the universe bends to my will. It is only a matter of time.
Okay, so Mortal Kombat 11 is the time shenanigans game because it turns out that Shinnok, he has a big family, actually. We've never heard about them before. We've never seen them discussed ever. But his mother is Kronika. And Kronika is a titan, someone who is actually a keeper of time. She is in control of this hourglass that she can use to rewind time and send everything back to square one. She can literally go back to the beginning, to the dawn of time, to remake the world as she sees fit. And she's actually been doing this multiple times, actually. And in every single era that she makes, Raiden keeps fucking things up by destroying her son, Shinnok. And she claims she's not evil, but she's trying to maintain a balance of light and dark, because she also has a daughter, another elder god known as Cetrion. And Cetrion is supposed to be the god of virtue, and Shinnok is like the evil fallen elder god, so she's got a good child and a bad child, and she's trying to balance the world so that light and dark, good and evil are all equal and as they should be. She's being very OCD and just constantly remaking the world in order to be the way she wants it to be. And Raiden screwed things up again, so she goes fucky-wucky with time, which ends up bringing the characters from Mortal Kombat 9 into present day, which means she brings young Johnny Cage to meet older Johnny Cage. She brings the alive versions of Liu Kang, Kitana, Jade, Shao Kahn, Kung Lao. Every character who died in Part 9 are now back because of time travel, because why not? How do you bring these characters back when you've written them off so definitively? I don't know, but Kronika has brought everybody back, and it's just fun seeing past versions interact with their older counterparts. Kronika has a helper named Garrus, who is an automaton. He's actually a constructed artificial being who, every time you kill him, you can cut off his head, you can rip him apart, you can blow him up, it doesn't matter. He just reforms like the T-1000. He just repairs back to normal because Garrus cannot be killed. And in terms of henchmen, that's a pretty dangerous and very effective foe, if I do say so myself. Kronika builds an army of people who she convinces that she will give them benefits and stuff in her new era, that she's going to reset time and give them all these advantages if they choose to align with her and take out Raiden's forces. So she's got like 2 versions of Kano working for her. Frost undergoes the cyber system and becomes Cyber Frost, so that's pretty fun. Anyway, after poor Hanzo gets killed by Devora, stung by one of her poisonous stingers, he actually convinces his younger self, his undead revenant evil self, to trust in the forces of light, because we actually brought the Shirai Ryu back. We actually brought them back to their former glory. So Scorpion shows up and he's kind of like blindsided, like, oh my god, I can't believe this. But Raiden does not trust the earlier version of Scorpion. He thinks he's an enemy, and he goes to kill him, and because he's holding on to Shinnok's amulet, oh, by the way, the dark version of Raiden got, like, obliterated, like, as soon as the time conference happened, because only one version of a god can coexist at the exact same time. I don't know why. But anywho, Raiden, he tries to attack Scorpion. Liu Kang sees that, like, no, you came in peace. There's no reason to do this. And Raiden's like, get the fuck out of my way, Liu Kang, or I'm gonna kill you. And Liu Kang decides to cross paths with him. But then Raiden has, like, a flash. He has a flash that, like, he remembers the events of Mortal Kombat 9 when he fought Liu Kang back then, too. And then he remembers the events of Armageddon when he fought him at the pyramid, and he remembers when he fought him at a subway station, and when he fought him like this, and when he fought him like that. And throughout every era of history, Raiden and Liu Kang have battled each other to the death. When Raiden realizes this, he puts a stop to it immediately and thinks to himself, oh my god, we've done this a million times before.
At long last, you see the pattern.
The pattern, but not the purpose. Why set me against Liu Kang?
Is it not obvious? Your combined power threatens my vision for the timeline.
Kronika kidnaps Liu Kang, and then she heads back to her base, and she needs a little time to reset her hourglass. So all of the heroes, they gather their armies. You know, Sub-Zero gets the Lin Kuei, the Shaolin, the Special Forces. Kitana actually battled Shao Kahn and managed to gain all of his forces, even convincing Baraka to serve under her. So now Kitana has all of the Outworld forces as well. And there's this big war against all of these Oni and Demon from the Nether Realm as they storm onto Kronika's base. And Kronika actually uses the Revenant Liu Kang to suck up the soul of the good Liu Kang from the MK9 timeline, thereby making the Revenant version of Liu Kang even more powerful. But Raiden, I guess he's got a special power he's never used before, because he decides this would be the prime opportunity. If we're going to defeat Kronika, I'm going to do the one thing she said that she was most afraid of. I'm going to join forces with Liu Kang. So he grabs the Revenant Liu Kang, and he merges and becomes one with him, transforming Liu Kang into Fire God Liu Kang. And now Liu Kang has his MK9 dormant personality back. He's a goody two-shoes again, and he's got the power of himself as well as Raiden, and he is just freaking unstoppable. But because the battle is happening while the hourglass is draining, it takes a little too long because Liu Kang gets his ass kicked a little bit, and it reverts all the way back to the dawn of time. Time has rewound all the way to the beginning of the universe, but still Liu Kang is successful and he kills Kronika. That's when Raiden shows up in his human form to basically tell the guy, well, Liu Kang, you're the new protector of Earthrealm. You're the new god who's going to watch over everybody, and now you have the power to control your new era as much as you see fit. You know, you can do it. I believe in you. I'll be helping you as long as my mortal body will last, because I'm going to die one day. And that's like, oh my god, that's a crazy ending. And then Mortal Kombat 11 had a story DLC where Shang Tsung, Fujin, and Nightwolf show up. And of course, this DLC was amazing, if only for Kari Hiroyuki Tagawa, who played Shang Tsung in the movie, reprising his role as Shang Tsung in the video game. Jesus Christ, it's so good. Apparently, Kronika wanted to recruit these 3 warriors in particular, but when they refused, she sent them to a void that they couldn't escape from, and then when Kronika died, they could get out of that void. And Liu Kang destroyed the crown. He destroyed the crown of souls that Kronika had on her head, and that was the thing that she used to control the hourglass without outright destroying the universe. So, Shang Tsung pitches the idea of sending these 3 back in time, because apparently they can, even though they can't go forward in time. Whatever, just believe me that this plot is making sense, okay? And he basically sends them all to try and retrieve the crown without destroying it and without screwing up the timeline so badly that Kronika ends up winning. The thing is, Shang Tsung ends up resurrecting Sindel. Oh god. Oh god, you know what's coming. He enlists the help of Shiva and he resurrects Sindel. And he does end up getting the crown away from Cetrion, who grabbed it originally, and now they have the crown. But the thing is, behind the scenes, he is secretly orchestrating with Shao Kahn and Sindel to betray the forces of light and to get the hourglass for themselves. And people were really ticked off, really pissed off, because Mortal Kombat 11, you know, it establishes what we already knew.
She was Shao Kahn's empress. His equal in evil.
Because he had her bewitched. Returning Sindel to life will restore her original, more heroic self.
And then it sweeps the rug from out under the audience and says, no, actually, Sindel chose to join Shao Kahn on purpose. She chose to join him, and it was Quan Chi who killed her. She never committed suicide ever. She is actually in love with Shao Kahn, and she is a being of pure evil. She was glad to see Jared die. What the fuck? Let's just say that everybody hated this twist, and we're really mad at NetherRealm for changing Sindel's character. And that's how you know people care about fighting game lore, okay? That the past 3 hours of everything that I've been saying, people actually care about what was established in previous games and what these characters are all about. Because when you screw up something like Sindel's personality, the caring, loving woman who would do anything for her daughter Kitana, you can't just change characters willy-nilly without a good enough explanation, you know? So, people were not happy about this retcon. It was very, very strange. And, I don't think they're going to be doing it again, since now in Mortal Kombat 1, Sindel is a good girl again. But, Hui. Either way, Mortal Kombat 11 Aftermath ends with Shang Tsung ending up betraying both Shao Kahn and Sindel, defeating Kronika, taking the crown for himself, and he's about to completely remake the universe in his image when Liu Kang shows up and lets him know that, oh, actually, Shang Tsung, I've been watching this whole entire time. I knew you were going to betray everybody, and I planned on that. I'm just going to reset the timeline and bring everything back to normal after I defeat you. And Shang Tsung's like, nuh-uh, bitch, because the player character could choose me. And that's actually true. At the end decision point, the player can decide, do they want to be Liu Kang or do they want to be Shang Tsung? And so there are 2 different endings to Mortal Kombat 11. Now, obviously, Liu Kang must win, right? Because Mortal Kombat 1 is about Liu Kang and his new era, his remade universe, which is the 3rd timeline and the newest game in the series, where everything has been reset again. And you know, originally I wasn't going to talk about this game. I was going to leave it and say, you know what? you guys should play the game for yourself. You guys should find out all of the crazy twists and changes yourself. But the thing is, this video is called The Insane Lore of Mortal Kombat, and I would be doing it such a disservice to not talk about how fucking crazy and how fucking insane the end of this game gets. I'm sorry, I have to talk about it. So if you want to play the newest game in the series and you don't want the story spoiled for you, then perhaps you should turn the video off or skip to the conclusion section, because this is where things get nutty. This is where things get really nutty. Okay, so Liu Kang remakes the world in his image. They completely redefine how all the characters operate, because Scorpion and Sub-Zero are now brothers. Bi-Han is Sub-Zero, and Kuai Liang is Scorpion. Yeah, Scorpion is a member of the Lin Kuei, and he is Kuai Liang. He is not Hanzo Hasashi, so they've completely changed how that dynamic works. Sindel had two daughters. She had Kitana and she had Melina. Melina is no longer a clone of Kitana. She is actually her sister. Baraka is no longer a nomadic mutant, a savage who just kills people for sport and fun. Now he's an honest merchant who has been infected with this disease called Tarkat. And Tarkat is what makes people go bald, and it gives them razor teeth and gives them swords in their arms, and that's how it happens, because of this disease. And unfortunately, Melina has also caught Tarkat, and it's only thanks to Shang Tsung's serum that she's able to cure the instances of Tarkat and go back to normal every now and then. But she is infected with Tarkat, and that is why she still is the vicious, sadistic, crazy Melina that we all know and love every now and then when she's fighting, you see. Liu Kang made it so that Shang Tsung was a pathetic snake oil salesman who could never gain any real power, and that Shao Kahn never became Khan. He never became the conqueror who destroys and conquers Outworld. No, he's just a loyal general. He's just a loyal servant to Queen Sindel, who now rules over Outworld. She did along with her husband Jared, but then Jared was assassinated. We don't know who the assassinator is. We just know that everyone believes Li Mei, the constable of Outworld, is a bad person because she failed to protect Jared. She's disgraced. How dare you, Li Mei? Why didn't you save Jared? You fuck up, you idiot. There is a new Raiden who is basically taking the place of what Liu Kang used to be, because now Liu Kang is the protector of Earthrealm. Now he's the god that everybody talks and answers to, and this new Raiden is a normal human being who has a lightning medallion that gives him electricity powers, and he got that by winning the preliminaries to compete in the Mortal Kombat tournament. You know what? I shouldn't reveal too much about the details of the lore of this newest game. What I gotta talk about is the development. What I gotta talk about are the villains. Because Shang Tsung and Quan Chi, they are building this dragon army. Sound familiar? And they are listening to this woman who calls herself Damashi. Sound familiar?
What I want, Shang Tsung, is to elevate you, to make you the great sorcerer that now you can only pretend to be.
Oh my god, Kronika's back. I thought we killed her. She gives Shang Tsung power, teaches him how to steal souls, how to shapeshift, how to do all of his dark, evil things that he used to do before Liu Kang reset the timeline. And she gives Quan Chi the ability to do his necromancy shit and create soulnados and whatnot. Damashi is revealed to actually be Shang Tsung from Mortal Kombat 11. Now, how's that possible? And you see, at the end of MK11, when the player got to make a choice over who would win, it didn't matter because they both won. The Battle of the Hourglass managed to create different timelines. It broke the universe into multiple timelines, where in one universe, Liu Kang won, in another, Shang Tsung did, and in another, Kitana did, and in another, Kano did, and all of the arcade endings of Mortal Kombat 11 are canon, and Shang Tsung and Liu Kang can tap into other timelines and they can pull other versions of themselves from other timelines and parallel universes to join in a fight to save the world and the galaxy, the crazy... I'm tired. I want this video out.
I know how this works.
The point is, the game ends with an Armageddon callback where Liu Kang's forces are taking on Shang Tsung's forces on a pyramid, and it's insane. It's insane. And I've lost my mind. I've lost my mind with this video, and I just want it to end. I just want it to stop. I just want to end this video now because I'm losing my mind. I'm losing my mind. And that's how I feel about the plot. That's how I feel about Mortal Kombat in general. I'm losing my mind.
Warriors from across timelines, clashing in combat. The blood, the death, the chaos. Yes, Lord Havoc. It's unfortunate it all ended so fast. Next time, it won't.
At a time or all at once makes no difference to me.
I love Mortal Kombat. I've been playing these games for over 20 years, and they're great, and they're fantastic. And I don't think they're just edgy, try-hard bullshit. I think they're fun. I think they're enjoyable. And I love that NetherRealm Studios cares so much about lore, that they make thousands of character interactions and these high-quality stories, although they gotta learn how to compress. Jesus Christ. Reduce the file size! But, you know, I love Mortal Kombat. It's fantastic. I love it. It's great. It's amazing. And, hopefully I encouraged all of you to give it a try as well.
Face your problems head on. I prefer them head on.
This is by far the longest video I've ever made, and I promise that this is the longest delay between videos you will ever wait for. I am so sorry. I actually wouldn't recommend donating to the Patreon until I have a consistent upload schedule again, but I promise I'm going to be working on some smaller videos that are less than 30 minutes long. Do you want that? Does that sound good to you? I think that sounds good. Let's do it. Thanks for watching. I love all of you. And remember, I also did an insane lore video on Street Fighter and Tekken. Those are pretty fantastic too. Thank you so much. I'm going to bed. Goodbye. The man is unkillable. Oh my god.
The following is a fan-based parody. Dragon Ball, Dragon Ball Z, and Dragon Ball GT are all owned by Funimation, Toei Animation, Fuji TV, and Akira Toriyama. Please support the official release.
The South Galaxy.
Holy shit! Okay, first of all, calm down. I was in the bathroom for 5 minutes, and now it's all gone. Ow! Whoa! Could have been Beerus.
Oh, you know that mother's still asleep. This is my ex-man. She told me she would hurt me in a way I never seen coming. Why is that? Why?
Top guy, listen.
I thought you meant like still my Blu-ray player, man.
Top guy, we are going to figure this out.
We need to get whoever did this no time.
All right, then listen. I gotta go. I'm going to jail!
Alrighty, ladies and gentlemen, it is time for another installment of anime's deadliest serial killers. And today we dive into the case of the most notorious serial killer in anime history. And that is none other than Kira, aka Light Yagami. And my god, with all the evidence and the amount of victims this man racked up, this is gonna be amazing. So let's stop wasting time. So without further ado, it's time to dive in to the Kira case. Light Yagami, one of the most diabolical fist to ever exist. A man with a kill count that ranges in 6 figures and had a whole cult praising this stuff, thinking that he's the Messiah.
I need somebody to help me glorify God and stretch out your arms, open up your mouth, and say anyway.
But you have to wonder how the actual did this generic ass background character looking toothpick whipped ass become one of the most notorious mass murderers in fiction? Well, ladies and gentlemen, that is why we are here. So first off, we need to know what the hell the weapon was to commit all these homicides. And that, of course, is the Death Note. Now, I'm pretty sure everybody knows how this thing works. But if you forgot, here's a quick refresher. The human whose name is written in this note shall die. The note will not take effect unless the writer has the person's face in their mind when writing his or her name. Therefore, people sharing the same name will not be affected. If the cause of death is written within 40 seconds of writing the name. And finally, after writing the cause of death, details of the death should be written in the next 6 minutes and 10 minutes. Now, with all that explained, we can now move into the first major incident, and that is, of course, the first confirmed 52 victims. Now, when White first
one at a time or all at once, makes no difference to me.
Right in front of him, he thought to himself, man, this is bullshit. That was a sick jump. Who the hell would believe this? But Light gave a little curious George decided to take the book. So later on, when Light got home, Bro was a little bored. So he ended up thinking in his head, it doesn't hurt to try it out. So Light intrusive thoughts took over. So he ended up turning on the news and hearing, breaking news! An old crackhead is holding 8 children hostage at a daycare. So Light said, let's write this guy's name down. I mean, he's a criminal after all. So 40 seconds later, the news comes back on and says, breaking news! The children have been set free and the assailant just over and died. So this man Light was shook. He was like, no. It was just coincidence, right? No fucking way, right? But it was no coincidence. This local crackhead was the first victim of Light. But Light needed more proof because he thought it just had to be a random coincidence that Bro had a heart attack when he wrote his name down. So later on that same night, while Light is walking back from cram school, he ends up seeing this lady walking. And these bikers come up and start to harass her. So ugly biker bastard right here ends up saying, hey there, pretty lady. How about you come fuck with her? Come in. Spit on that thing for a minute. So these freaky ass niggas tried to redo a killer shorty in the parking lot. While Light was in the convenience store watching the whole thing like, not on my watch, you 69 gods. So he wrote Bro's name down and made the cause be a accidental death, and the rest was history. Old girl breaks away while ugly bastard tries to track her down. Watch your camera, watch your camera! To another wall, trapped her. And just like that, Light caught another body, and this man was stunned. He was like, no fucking way. I just summoned truck. That means I must be a fucking god. And at this point, Light's god complex was born. This man went back to the crib, locked the door looking like he about to beat that thing, and said, I'm about to cleanse
haul
this
someone's ass out the fire.
So this man looked up a list of criminals and just started getting. This nigga started writing something. It looked like he had something to do the next day. And he just started racking up bodies. Going crazy, thinking in his head. Yeah, that ugly bastard that was talking to that little girl the other day enjoyed being unemployed with Dr. Disrespect. And this man went through the whole night just writing down names until 2 whole pages were full. And look at this man breathing hard as hell, looking like he just ran a 5K. Just off of that one night, this man killed 52 criminals. Now here's the wild part. That was just criminals that died. Until the whole got this information, there could be some people that were unaccounted for. But easily been over 100. So after Light racked up all of his first victims, the name Kira started spreading like wildfire. Because Light was constantly dropping off every single day. He was killing multiple people all around the world was supporting this man. They had Reddit threads and Discord servers just blazing this nigga. And this just amped up his god complex even more. Bro, just looking at this like, yeah, that's right. Glaze me, nigga. Polish this Willie. And of course, now he got this A1 instigating Shinigami Ryu attached to his hip the whole time now. But even though Light was killing only criminals, at the end of the day, it was still murder. And this is when this man fell for the trap. Now, this is the moment where you just think to yourself, what if Light never made this crucial mistake? And that mistake was killing Linda L. Taylor on live TV. So a worldwide public service announcement comes on TV, and this man announces himself as L. But obviously, this ain't L. But Light didn't know. So Linda L. Taylor starts speaking and saying,
"Good afternoon, world. My name is Linda L. Taylor. Kira, if you're watching this, we have a message for you. You are evil, and you are just a mindless serial killer. And I'm gonna bring your punk ass to justice."
So while Light is watching this, here come this instigating ass nigga. Light, I'm not gonna lie, that nigga pressing your shit right now. So what the fuck you gonna do about it, huh? So here come this man Light, his ego is challenged. You think I'm fucking evil? Quit all that fucking yapping, nigga. I am God, and you can suck my divine dick 6 feet under. So Light got to work quick. He wrote bro's name down in a heartbeat, and after he finished, he was like, "Yeah, that's right. I'll show the world what happens if you defy me." So 40 seconds later, and Linda L. Taylor has a heart attack, croaks over. What's wrong? Huh? Get the fuck up, huh? But see, you was talking to that shit.
I can't believe it. You was one dumbass nigga. You really think I'd get my introverted ass on TV and press you like this? You one stupid ass nigga. And now I know all your shit. The dude you just killed, yeah, he was good for execution today anyway, so he could go off. Also, this is not a worldwide broadcast. We're only broadcasting this in the Kanto region of Japan. So guess what, motherfucker? I know exactly where you at. So come on, motherfucker. Go ahead and try to kill me. Do it. Come on. I'm waiting for you right here. Don't be a fucking bitch. Show me you got some balls. Or is it that you need a name and a face?
Fuck. He got your ass. Couldn't be me though.
Kira, know this. On my mama, I'm coming for your bitch ass, and I'm gonna put your nigga ass in the slammer.
So after this man L played Light like a fool and pressed the living hell out of him, the investigation on Kira went into full effect. So this is where we move on to our next set of evidence and next set of victims. And our first key victim is Ray Pinberg. Now, Ray Pinberg was an FBI agent. Yeah, this case got so big that this man L ended up getting help from the FBI to come solve this case. Because that's how horrendous this